Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am your host, Warlindor, and I present to you the Old Gods of Asgard featuring that best-selling writer Alan Wake. This is Herald of Darkness.
You grew up nice and sheltered with mama's pretty stories and you're all made up fury. And mama gave me a magic clicker. Well, yes, I think it's true and fair to say. Come on in and listen. Lost words you've been missing. On the fire you're bearing. The eye of the darkness you're lying. So you were drawn to stories early on. My dreams would light up my imagination. And you had nightmares night and day. Yeah, but with the clicker I chased those frights away. Who knew? So true. So here is a clue of how to remember. Visions, they come true. Obey the light switch to. Show me the champion of light. I'll show you the herald of darkness. Lost in a never-ending night. Diving deep to the surface. And all your stories of crime and chilling thrillers of hard-boiled killers became bestsellers. It was all too much, I had to get away. The story's the end, all a piece of true fiction made meaningless in the face of creation. But there is more to it than meets the eye. I never meant for it to ruin my life that way. Would you say you lived a jaded lie? Dark shades could never save the day. So sad, but true. Fighting the nightmares, touching the light switch, a gift or a curse, a reality made of dreams. Show me the champion of light. I'll show you the herald of darkness. Lost in a never-ending night. Diving deep to the surface.
You know, Expedition 33, it's got good music. But does it have that? You know, does it have that level of music? I don't think so. I don't think so. You know, not to take anything away from Expedition 33. It's just I'm saying if there was like a whole dance routine paired with it, I think it would have helped. I think it would have taken it to another level. Like, you know, we did get a guitar riff, I guess, technically during their performance, but it needed more leather pants. I think that's the one thing Expedition 33 needs. More leather. Look how much fun he's having. Isn't that just... Dude, Alan Wake 2 is such an acid trip. It's insane. Like, it's actually crazy. It's hard to explain to people. Like, I remember Nikki came down and I'm playing Alan Wake 2 for review, like on our projector in the living room. And she comes in, and I'm at the point where they do the whole musical number, and they're going through, like, you know, the endless waves of the music video. And she's like, what on earth are you doing? And I was like, this is that sort of horror game I was telling you about. This is the horror game? I was like, well, like psychological horror, I get. It's hard to explain. But once you've seen it, once you played it, it kind of works. That's the insane thing, is that this is Alan Wake 2, but it works, you know, when you've actually played it. Anyway, how are you guys? How's everybody doing today? How are you feeling? Are you vibing? Are you rocking and rolling? I will say, let me know how the stream goes for you. If one of you guys can count how many seconds it takes in terms of latency from when you hit send in YouTube chat or Twitch chat, actually both would be nice, and then count how many seconds until you see it on screen so I can know what latency is like, because we're trying transcoding to help our friends over on Twitch. They have problems with bit rates. YouTube allows for crazy high bit rates, Twitch does not. So historically it just leads to instability on Twitch. But if we go and do transcoding stuff, it works. It's just there might be latency. So let me know. I'm drowning in homework. I'm so sorry. I do not miss those days. Except, honestly, hot take, cancel me. I don't care. Excel.
At the Distinguished Dragon
liked Excel
donated
homework.
$20 through Super Chat. As a disenfranchised Bungie fan, the marathon update left me skeptically optometrist. The environments and arts will make my brain happy. Also, the ex-marathon director lawsuit was thrown out. No joke.
Let's see. No Joseph Cross in the update. First of all, I love the idea of being skeptically optometrist. That makes me happy. As for the marathon updates, yes, it is true that the ex-marathon director that filed a $200 million lawsuit, his lawsuit was thrown out of court. But it's important to know it was dismissed out of court for jurisdictional issues. Basically, the court that the lawsuit was filed in doesn't handle monetary disputes. And so they dismissed it. But in court, at least in American courts, there's something called being dismissed without prejudice and being dismissed with prejudice. So if something is dismissed without prejudice, you can file the lawsuit again somewhere else, or even in the same court. But usually it's like in this case, we don't handle this type of claim in this court, but you can file it in the other court where we do, like, or they do handle that type of thing. So I'll dismiss it without prejudice so you can go file it somewhere else. Again, if they were to dismiss it with prejudice, you can't file it again. It's like, that's usually used for lawsuits that are like in bad faith, you know, like, you know, the stories of like the crazy lady in Florida who sues some like Taylor Swift for kidnapping her in an alien spaceship. And it's like, clearly this is nonsense, dismissed with prejudice, you can't file again, you know? But anyway, we will see where that goes. I mean, he's probably going to file it again for $200 million. You better believe he's going to file it again. So just, you know, that story is not over by any stretch of the imagination. As for No Joseph Cross in the update video, yeah, we'll see. So in case you missed it, basically there was a brand new Bungie video document. I don't know. And it goes through a lot of the updates. It gives the launch date, pricing, all of that stuff. This is the update people were waiting for. And we're going to look at it. I've not seen it. I literally have seen, I've seen like the screenshots they posted. So there's some new screenshots and stuff. I saw the new main menu. I saw them post that. Looks way better. So I've seen that stuff, but I have not seen anything else. I have spoken to people who have played through some of the betas. And I will say, I've heard good things in general. Like there's been a couple of people who are like, they still got some work to do, but I've heard generally good things. So it seems like they're at least responding to feedback, and we'll look at the video and see what exactly they have done and what they still might need to do. But overall, I mean, it seems like they've been hard at work for the last 9 months or so. So we'll see. We'll check it out. We'll do a deep dive. Samuel, thank you for the 17 months of membership. That is most definitely what's up. Thank you for that. Sup gamers, sup indeed. SRW, thank you for the $7 Canadian. Luke, doesn't it seem a little sus that Expo 33 had a thank you update ready to go? No, because I think it was thank you for like making our dreams a reality and giving us millions and millions and millions of dollars. And so I think even if they didn't win, they would have just said, thank you for the awards we did get. Here's the thank you update. So either way, it would have been funny if they won nothing and then had a thank you update. I grant you that. But let's be real. They knew they were walking away with most things. I mean, we all knew they were walking away with most awards. So, you know, I think it's fine. Yep, they released it before winning. I think, is it true that they updated the game before taking to the stage? I think that's what it was. Because when he was on stage doing the thank you for Game of the Year, he said it's live now. So it had already launched. But anyway. It's all a conspiracy, Jimmy. That's the thing. It's all a conspiracy. Nothing is real. Everything is a lie. Brennan, thank you for the new membership, by the way. Thank you for that. Good to see you. Let's see. Jinkia Parwar, thank you for the membership as well. Armindidio? I'm not sure. I'm sorry. Thank you for the super chat. Luke, have you seen the new Tainted Grail DLC? I have not, but I have been playing Tainted Grail actually on my Legion Go. It's kind of fire. It scratches that old school Elder Scrolls itch, you know? Scratches that itch. Really does. Really does. Mr. Mo, thank you for the 5. Last 2 streams, I sent in super chats that didn't get read. I'm sorry. I hate complaining. Still love you. Please let me know what you said. Unless you sent this chat, in which case that's meta. But please let me know what you said. Yeah, the Game Awards stream was utterly insane. Shocker, 10,000 people in chat. It gets kind of hard to juggle. It gets a little chaotic, which is why I tried to tell you guys at the start of the stream, like, once the show starts, I'm turning off notifications, and then, you know, it's just all hope is lost. Ye who enter here. And bizarrely, last stream was also crazy too. I don't know. Maybe it's the sweaters. Maybe that's what does it for you. I don't know. Am I hyped for Exodus? Yeah, I'm hyped for that. Looks fire. Over 150 million people watched it across everything. Yeah, I believe it, dude. Game Awards is big. There's a reason they can charge $1 million for a trailer, and God knows how much money they're charging Amazon and those guys.
4109 donated $10 through super chat.
Thank you.
Hey Luke, fellow Coloradin here. When do you think we'll see the Black Flag remake and the Sands of Time remake? Both are rumored to come out early next year.
Yes, they are. I honestly, after it not showing up at the Game Awards, I am cautiously hopeful that they will actually do like a shadow drop. I seriously think that the best thing for the Black Flag remake would be a shadow drop. Like, I'm telling you, the longer you give people to find problems with what you're doing, the tougher it is going to be to overcome those problems. Like, just drop the game, be like, here it is. Steam has refunds within 2 hours, so if it's broken as hell, people can like go and refund it if they need to. But like, if it's a good remake and if you're capitalizing on nostalgia, shadow dropping it would be the best thing they could do. It's better for my business if they do a long marketing cycle. They do like a 2-month thing. It's rumored and speculated that they're going to reveal it at the Xbox Partner Showcase. In case you missed it, they're doing an Xbox Partner Showcase in January where they're going to do, like, you know, partnered showcases, and they'll have some trailers for some big stuff coming later in the year. So I think like they could show it there, but seriously, I think they should just shadow drop it. We'll see if they ever do it though. We'll see if they ever do it. I also saw, yeah, Larian upgraded Divinity Original Sin 2 for PS5 and Xbox Series X. Yeah, dude. Trying to get people familiarized with it. It's very, very good. It's very good. It's not quite on the level of Baldur's Gate, but I mean, it's the, I think what they described it as was the spiritual predecessor to Baldur's Gate, which I've not heard people describe things that way before, but I believe that's how they said it. Yeah. Sven said, surprise, the spiritual predecessor to Baldur's Gate 3, single player, co-op multiplayer, PvP multiplayer, turn-based combat, master the elements, teleport, kill, loot nearly everyone and everything, fly, cry, laugh, don't recruit the squirrel, recruit it, lizard companions, play as an undead, worth a try if you ask me. Had a 93 on Metacritic. Dude, seriously, it's so good. It's so good. And it also, one of the most underrated features in any RPG in the last decade, it has a Game Master mode where you can literally create your own missions and quests for you and your friends. So you can like literally run a D&D campaign if you wanted to, not actual D&D rules, but you can basically run your own tabletop campaign for your friends using their built-in tools. It's super cool. It's super, super cool. So seriously, if you've not played it, I recommend you try it because I mean, you can tell when you play Divinity Original Sin 2, you're like, oh, I can see why they went on to make Baldur's Gate 3. Yep, makes sense.
At
very good.
TCABACatristan 135 donated $9.99 through Super Chat.
Hell yeah.
Even if it was a joke, do you think Jeff was actually a little mad Team Cherry didn't show up? Saying, see, you did win something.
I think maybe there was like a little coy, but it's always hard to speculate. Like, I think it was, I haven't actually checked it. I heard people say it, but Hideo Kojima, people said, and I don't know if it's true, so we're going to check right now, but people were saying that he was posting all sorts of pictures at the event with various people. But he didn't post any pictures with Jeff. And so people were like, oh, maybe he's upset. Maybe he's like, he's throwing a fit because he didn't win, which I don't think is the case. I think it's funny if he posted pictures with other people and then didn't say anything, but okay. In the booth. Dude tweets a lot. He retweets a lot. Yeah, they got this one, this event. Okay. Bro tweets like mad. Tweets like mad. Okay. There's some pictures. I don't see any. Oh, that's a good cosplay. Wow. Oh, yeah, Dan Hauser, of course. The one and only Raul. What's this? Ooh, that's a good touch. All these. So people are like, oh God, he's pissed at Jeff. He's not posting any pictures with them because he's upset. I'm like, I don't know, guys. He didn't have a reason to be on stage. He retweeted this, but this is, I guess, technically before the award show. But it's funny. People are like trying to stir up drama and be like, oh, this person's pissed at this person and they're throwing a fit over this. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, who knows? Who knows? Maybe he is upset that he didn't win anything. Who knows? Who knows? It literally doesn't matter. Like, who cares? Who cares? But yeah, what's been funny is just the meltdowns related to Expedition 33. Dude, there's people losing their minds. It's like kind of depressing.
At Noah's Rent, donated $10 through Super Chat. Luke, are you a millionaire?
Depends on how you count. If you count the paper value of the YouTube channels, yeah. But if you don't count the paper value of the YouTube channels because like I can't sell them, it's not like I can sell the Luke Stevens channel to Dave, you know. If you don't count the paper value of them, then no. But if you, like my tax guy, he did like the math on what the YouTube channels were worth, and it was like, okay, that's cool. But he's like, it's kind of a made up number, so doesn't really matter. I mean, like if you own a car dealership that's worth $10 million, you're worth $10 million because you can sell that to somebody else. With my stuff, you can't sell it. So it's like, yeah, on paper, it might be worth X, Y, or Z, but it like you can't do anything with it. So it's just like a number you can pat yourself on the back for, you know. What are you going to do? But one day, that's the hope. One day we'll get there. Just $1 million is a lot of money. It's a lot of freaking money. Not all of us have that Jeff money, you know? Not all of us. I did see one. Okay, that's pretty funny. Jamie said, no, he's not a millionaire. He's a Warhammer fan. Even people who were once millionaires who play Warhammer are no longer millionaires. It consumes you like the dead rot in fantasy stories. Yeah. How to get access to the members only Discord. Once you're a member or a Twitch sub, you just connect your accounts to Discord, and Discord should, in theory, automatically invite you to the servers. So it's in the connections tab of Discord settings. You connect it, give it like a day at most, and it should automatically invite you. Sometimes people have problems with it connecting, in which case send me an email at my press contact email, and we can brute force it. But yeah, that's typically how it works. Yes. Okay. RPG veteran, thank you for that. Luke, I have been texting you on IG. Well, there's your problem. I couldn't tell you the last time I got on IG myself. I'm really bad at social media, despite doing this for a living. By the way, this Christmas, I am just playing Larian games for the first time and just bought Path of Exile 2. Levy bro, no homo. Dude, Path of Exile 2, prepare to lose yourself. Dude, that game, I was just talking to a friend about it last night. Like, if you've not looked at the skill tree on that, dude, this is an app that's a skill tree planner. Bro, like, look at this nonsense.
At
Look
Edgar
at this.
Vasquez 9580 donated $10 through Super Chat. Luke, come on guy. I'll give you a cool $10 for your channel.
Deal. No. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, I think some people really care about putting a label on where they are in life and being like, oh, I've achieved this milestone. I'm like, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. As long as I'm able to save and invest and set up like a college fund for my two boys, I'm a happy camper. I'm a happy camper. And afford my candle addiction. That's the other.
TCAB Acatristan 135 donated $9.99 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
Also, do you think we will ever get the Bora Bora videos from Miss Piggy? Asking for a friend. Eyes.
Nah, Jeff's got to keep those locked down. I mean, yeah, you can't do that. I've heard Kermie has threatened multiple lawsuits related to it, because he and Miss Piggy are separated, but nothing's official yet. So, you know, it's a whole complicated mess, frankly. Dude, it was my favorite meme that came out of the Game Awards. Like, zero joke, absolute insanity. It was those pictures of like Jeff related to yeah, this one, dude. Just people being like officially leaked from the Jeff Keighley Discord. It's so dumb, but bro, it is so funny. Also, Jacob, I found this. Somebody cut this together, and we got to put this randomly in videos. I don't know where we would possibly get it, but, or like use it.
Boom!
Boom! There's got to be a meme for that.
Boom!
We got to find a way to use it.
Boom!
Maybe if one of you guys, like, we set that and change this to like the like $20 super chat alert, and it's just Jeff pops up on screen. Boom! And then leaves. It's pretty funny. Okay. We should actually like focus and get to the point, right? Hypothetically. Zombie, thank you for the sub over on Twitch. Hopefully BG3 Switch 2 announcement comes next. If it can even run on the Switch 2. I mean, it's a beefy game. It does run on handhelds decently, so never say never, but it probably won't support like split screen stuff anymore. But I mean, still, you get Baldur's Gate on Switch. Can't complain, frankly.
At the categories donated €10 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the content.
Thank
I hope you will have a nice Christmas.
Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the well wishes. And thank you to Europeans for innovating finally on the bottle cap design. Seriously, like, America, yes, we invented the internet. Yes, we basically patented freedom. Yes, we have liberty and democracy. And, you know, we have Taco Bell. So already we're pretty far ahead. But you guys, when I visited Europe, bro, these things are goated. The little caps that you've got where you unscrew them and they stay on the bottle, dude. Why America doesn't have this is like insane. It's insane to me. These are so much better than letting them just freely float around. It's way better. Internet was British. That's exactly what they want you to say. Even if it is British, we have more AC than you do. We do. We do. You can keep your internet as long as I get my air conditioning. Bro. Seriously though. Let's see. We got to talk about Marathon. Enough putting off the inevitable. We've done it. We've arrived. We've arrived. Voila. Max quality 4K 60. The days come, guys. We have an update on Marathon. It finally happened. Finally happened. The bottle caps are bear traps for my nose, says Ant. Okay, that's funny. That's funny. You do realize those are universally hated in Europe, says Loxy. I mean, that's wild if people hate that. I mean, I feel for a lot of people in like England. They suck. It's true, they suck. I don't know, man. Maybe it was just because it was new to me. But when I was in Europe and I got like a soda and I unscrewed it and it stayed on, I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. So maybe you get sick of it eventually. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just because it was fresh that it felt new and exciting. But I don't know. For me, at least, it was fresh. It was different. You know, exciting. Exciting. My goodness, I'm arriving, says Guitar. My goodness. Good heavens. Oh, goodness. Oh, golly. What the bloody hell is happening?
At Kyle Parkhurst 1720 donated $10 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
Day of asking for Brandy Boy Starfield video. Also, can you spot me a tenor?
Well, this is awkward considering you just gave me one. So I guess it would just be Uno reverse card on that. As for the Starfield video, dude, I thought we would do that after they announced the DLC for Starfield and the PS5 port, and then they just didn't. Like, dude, I tweeted this out because again, March 6th, they said, quote, "We know you're eager for an update and we truly appreciate your passion for Starfield. The team has been hard at work, and while we're not ready to share specific details just yet, we have a lot of exciting things planned for the game this year that we can't wait to talk about when the time is right. We're always listening and taking your feedback to heart. Thanks for being a part of this journey with us." Dantix on December 12th said, guys. But it's because, as I said, people ask, where's the Starfield expansion and support? You say you have a lot of exciting things planned for Starfield in 2025. Refuse to elaborate. Do nothing. Say nothing. Everyone thinks you've abandoned the game. Still say nothing. Like, it's literally them. And Jez says it ended up being bumped to 2026 because of how crowded the fall ended up being for Xbox. I mean, pretty clearly it was bumped for some reason. And then Camp Films says they're right. They made an announcement about shifting things to 2026. They just didn't announce it on Twitter for whatever reason. And when asked to provide like a source, he just says it was in some interview, I believe. Can't remember with who or with what outlet. That's not how sources work, dude. Like, if you claim something and people ask for you for a source and you're like, I don't remember. Like, that's not in high school. That doesn't work. It doesn't work. Clearly it's been bumped, and maybe they did tell somebody somewhere that it was delayed and that was communicated. But like, the point is that even like fans of Starfield don't have ready to go sources because they're so bad at communicating what's happening and when. Nobody has any idea what's happening. And there's some people who are like, I think I heard about it and I think it was communicated, I think. I don't remember where or how or with who or what, but I think it was. I'm like, this is the point. Communication has been terrible from them. Terrible. And they got to fix it. They said in this March post, basically, we're going to try to, stay with you guys and communicate better. And then they just didn't. Just never mind. Anyway, do you think Todd showed up to the Game Awards just to troll everybody and make them think he was going to reveal something? My understanding is that Todd was in LA for Fallout show promotion stuff. So he's filming interviews and promotional stuff for the Fallout TV show. And so he was like, sure, I'll go to the Game Awards as well. Why not?
At John the
my
Tank
understanding.
donated $20 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
Hey Luke, have you seen Splitgate's relaunch changes? I know the internet *T on the game when it launched, but a lot of them are cool for old school arena shooter fans like myself.
Yeah, I think I did see some of the changes. Thank you for the 20. I did see some of the changes. And honestly, I think for Splitgate, the problem was that they tried to frame themselves as like the anti-AAA studio and being anti-Call of Duty and everything. But then they had like $90 skin bundles and crap like that. And it was like, okay, no, you're literally part of the problem. Like you're doing the exact same thing that they are. And so it was hypocrisy and it was kind of cringe how they promoted it. And so it was a lot of things that stacked up. Maybe the relaunch, works for them. I'm not sure. It's a very crowded space though, as we will discuss as we go through this. But anytime you do a first or a shooter live service game launch in this decade, it's going to be an uphill battle. Sometimes you pop off and get lucky or make your own luck with it, like with Arc Raiders. Other times it's going to be a mixture of luck and hard work and but for other times very talented studios will put something out and it just doesn't land. It happens. There's plenty of good live service games, like in terms of the game was good, that just never found an audience because it's so crowded. It happens. Are they planning on doing a demo for Phantom Blade Zero? I don't know. I would imagine they've made enough of them that they probably could share one, but who knows? I don't know. I could email them, but if they were planning on doing it, it's not like they would tell me. And then Lucan, thank you for the membership as well. Appreciate you. Have I heard any updates on what Dan Hauser is working on? He's working on a comic book series, I think that's what it is. Comic book series. Anyway, thoughts on KCD2 not winning RPG of the year? Travesty. I'm depressed. I'm sad. It deserved it. Because it's the best RPG of the year. So there you go. News and it. Okay. I have a Gatorade. That'll do. I need like a little liquid to grease the wheels. You heard me. Here's it. We're back, fam. We're back. We finally arrived. We have new, exciting information about Marathon. They've actually done a lot. There's a lot in this video, apparently, that is exciting people, including one thing. I've not watched the video yet, but I saw one thing clipped on Twitter that actually I was like, okay, that's actually freaking cool. Actually, that makes me feel like this. Boom. That gets 3 booms. So we're going to talk about it, but there are actually some legitimately really cool ideas they're putting in place. Like, for example, in extraction shooters, one of the biggest problems is that you don't know how long like dead bodies have been there. You don't know if somebody's right around the corner or if this person died at the very start of the round. And they're apparently going to be doing something where like they literally have bodies decomposing throughout the match. So if you get to the point where you can learn how to read the bodies and the blood spills and stuff, you can determine how long they've been dead or if they were just killed, and you should be on high alert. Really, really cool idea. Very clever. And that's the kind of thing I want. That's what I like. Like, finally, interesting, fresh ideas that are not just the same thing we've seen over and over again. So we're going to look at this video because apparently there's a lot. And I'll interject as we go through it because I've actually spoken to a number of people that have been playing this in the closed play tests, and they weren't supposed to talk about it. But, you know, they wanted to talk about that and share some thoughts. So let's see what they've got going. Here we go. Already I can tell that the post-processing effects have been overhauled, and they actually listened to a piece of Luke feedback. That gets one boom. Boom. Actually, you know what I can do? I can do this. I can do this. I can add it to the soundboard. Hold on. Jeff?
Boom! Boom! Boom!
Okay. Okay. Now we can do it. They actually listened to a piece of Luke feedback. Damn it, it didn't work. It didn't work. We'll do it live real quick. One more time.
Boom! Boom!
Did that work?
Boom!
It's not working. My soundboard's dying. Everything sucks. Moving on. This is why, you know, people are like, where did the sound bites go, Luke? Where's the AC Valaha? Where's the, that's most definitely what's up? Where's the Todd 16 times the detail? My poor soundboard is dying, and yeah, professional streamer. Thanks for the money, guys. Going to the best equipment around. I love the Go XLR, bro, but they don't support it anymore. They don't. Sucks ass. Sucks ass because I love it, but it just slowly is dying. Anyway, continuing. What I was saying. So they listened to a piece of Luke feedback. They asked me what is one thing that if you could change instantly, what would it be? And I told them during our feedback session back in April when I went to the studio, bro, change the grass. It looks too like Fortnite-y mixed with Breath of the Wild. It like drove me crazy. And just to give you a little like side by side, this was like the original gameplay trailer reveal, and look at the grass and foliage. It's like all very, very weirdly glowy, and it all just kind of blends together, and it doesn't really look like grass. It looks like the fake grass in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory that Augustus Gloop's mother eats. Remember? She like grabs up the grass and eats it. I think he does that too. Augustus Gloop. Augustus Gloop, the big fat greedy nincompoop. And now they've actually fixed it, and it looks like real grass. Looks way better. Shout out grass.
Players want more challenge. The whole point of an extraction shooter is that you're challenged to even survive in this world.
We heard loud and clear from the alpha. The world didn't feel dangerous. The world didn't feel...
Lars is legitimately a cool guy. We talked to him about a bunch of their design philosophies and stuff. And he's an OG as well. He's been around forever.
lived it.
Tau Ceti 4 to us is this place that really doesn't want you there. And that sort of survival narrative really fits really well with the kind of world that we're creating.
Dude, the environmental effects, they've also completely overhauled. So everything like smoke, the sort of like God rays, the fog, all of this has been overhauled. It does look significantly better.
The survival narrative really fits really well with the kind of world that we're creating.
The world needs to
Yeah, that's my contribution to the game is the grass. You're welcome. Everything else is on them.
feel like there is something sinister underneath the surface, even when the colors are really bright.
You should not be here.
We want to marry the classic Bungie game feel, where you are blasting stuff in the face and it feels amazing, with the sort of high tension of the survival genre.
If you want good loot, you have to go to places where you're taking risks, either risks from other players or risks from AI.
So we have all these tools now, Rook with ProxChat, and the way the game works and sort of how tense it is. I think all those things work together really well.
So the ProxChat thing, they've added. When we played the game and did the preview back in April, there was no proximity chat because they were afraid of toxicity. And they didn't know, I think how they phrased it in a weird way, We were like, is there proximity chat? And they said, well, the whole toxic problem and toxic discourse problem in live chats and proximity chat, we just haven't found a way to solve that yet. I was like, that's a weird way to describe that. Because it's like, in a way, it's kind of like a feature, you know? It's like the toxicity is also part of the thing. Like, it's part of what you're doing. Like the the whole burnt peanut trend literally is entirely based on proximity chat. Like, all of this is tied to proximity chat. What is this one?
Oh, go, go, go! Coach, he needs our help!
He's absolute one shot. He's absolute one shot right here. Absolute one shot on live. Burn everything. Dead.
What? Another one is right. Another one is right over here in the tunnel.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, he swung out. Behind the desk.
I'm going in.
Yeah, I'm swinging with you. Give me 1 sec. Behind
I'm thirsty because I'm an asshole.
Close right.
Jesus Christ.
Worry about a top.
Got him. One more. On me.
Oh no.
Kadinga, kablam, kabloozy. That's one.
Like, all of this is tied to prox chat. This particular clip doesn't have much prox chat, to be fair. But a lot of his most viral clips that have helped the game explode into popularity are based entirely on prox chat and what's possible with it. Being able to talk to other players on other teams, negotiate, and you can collaborate with each other. Like, it's legitimately a major component of these types of games nowadays. And it was something they were just not going to do. They just weren't going to do it because they were worried people might say mean things. And it's like, if you're trying to get adults to play your game, which, spoiler alert, the adults have all the money. You heard me. If you want people to spend money on microtransactions and expansions and stuff, the adults have the money. The kids got to go to mama and dada and see if they can get enough V-Bucks to buy the new season pass or whatever. But the adults, they'll just spend $10 here, $5 there, $20 on a skin here and there. Those are the people you really want in your live service game. And those are the people that want prox chat because they grew up in COD lobbies, which were way more toxic than anything going on here. Like, it was those old COD lobbies. I know it's been said 1,000 times, but seriously, people nowadays could not survive in those old school lobbies. They were insane.
You have another rook. Come on, stop that. No. Sorry.
The Marathon ship is essentially a ship that we sent out from Earth, an Earth that was overpopulated, to explore and colonize a star far away that we call Tau Ceti.
So I think what they're about to go into is the Marathon ship map. One of the biggest critiques of the game back when we saw it in April was that the maps were fairly small and there weren't many of them. We only got to see 2 maps. There were going to be 3 at launch, and the 4th one would come after launch, and that was the Marathon ship, and it's like the end game map that's high difficulty, high challenge. And they said, like, the 2 things that are most exciting about the game are the ranked mode and the 4th map on the Marathon ship. The ranked mode wasn't built yet, and the Marathon ship was coming after launch. So it's like, okay, so how is that, like, how do you say that's the most exciting thing? One is not in existence yet. The other one is in the works, but like, what are we doing? But it looks like they're about to explain that, and they're gonna probably have it at launch, would be my guess.
In a lot of ways, it's like the tale of humanity trying to go out into the dark void of space, find a place to colonize, and failing terribly at it.
Everyone's gone, something catastrophic happened, and it's not just their absence that's important, it's the things that they left behind.
The modern race to Tau Ceti all started when a mysterious signal came through the galaxy.
The turmoil that sort of ensues gives rise to all these corporations that were invested in this Marathon project, now going, what happened? How do we recoup our investment?
And then layered on top of that is the greed and corruption of all of the different factions and corporations and revolutionary groups.
In our version of the world, we send people out not just to discover what happened, but also to collect from the things that remain there, and those people are runners.
As a runner, you're a biocybernetic mercenary who's traded their human body for a biosynthetic one.
You're not an unkillable god slayer. You are a mercenary, a disposable mercenary. You will live, you will die.
They are not people. You are the person. You go into that shell and adopt the personality matrix that is specifically designed to help you do the thing that you need to do. And you've been hired by these factions to come to Tau Ceti to scavenge it for anything that might be of value.
As a runner, you've left your body behind. You've traveled light years so that you can have access to the ultimate payday.
With extraction shooters, it is all about survival. There are other people who want the same things that you want, and it's up to you to best them.
But there's quiet periods where you're listening for the anticipation of something. Could there be another crew in the distance? Did I just hear a gunshot? Did I hear AI just alert?
Yeah, no, all of this is like, they're kind of just describing extraction shooters in general. But it's why I actually think, you know, there was actually a comment on I think their official Twitter post, where they said something to the effect of like, Arc Raiders walked so that Marathon could run. And I think it's quite early to be saying that, to be fair. But I think the whole narrative in the lead up to Arc Raiders and Marathon, because again, they were supposed to launch quite close to each other originally. The whole narrative was which is going to win. Like, will Arc Raiders beat Marathon? Will Marathon beat Arc Raiders? And this is back in like April, May. But I think that's the wrong question. I think what's actually happened is that Arc Raiders has introduced a lot of casual players, which basically in this context just means non-Tarkov players. It's introduced a lot of those people to the extraction genre who previously had no exposure to it or experience with it, because all they really knew about extraction shooters was that's Tarkov, and that's the game you play if you like crushing difficult and complexity in your games, you know? And so I think there is a world and a situation in which players are starting to get bored with Arc Raiders, and Marathon comes at like the perfect time to scoop some of those players up. And I think that's what they're hoping for.
Velvet Patterns donated 20 euros through Super Chat.
Thank you.
Believe it or not, Tarkov had the same issue with VoIP. The CEO was against it because of toxicity, then considered it being locked to using radio's frequencies, but decided on 15 seconds of VoIP with
15 seconds with a second of cooldown. Yeah, well, it's one of those things where this is one of those other nuances people can forget. There are countries where there are pretty strict laws, and, you know, freedom of speech, let's say, is not a huge thing, you know? And so there are regulations on online discourse, on threats being made. You can, you know, face legal consequences for things that you say on social media. So it then brings a lot of these companies instantaneous heartburn when they think of the possibility of like two people are playing a game. Let's say an adult is playing against a teenager, and the adult is toxic and like threatens the person on the other end. They don't realize it's a teenager or somebody underage, but they make a threat to a child effectively. That's what the headline would say, right? And then the company is responsible for creating a platform that facilitated that. Oh God. And these companies are horrified at that. So I'm sure their lawyers are like, just don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth the risk. Not worth the risk, you know. Yeah, in the US you can threaten any children you want. It's okay. USA. But yeah, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, because that's a question, it's a concern. They just don't want to risk it. So their impulse is to just not bother with it. And you know, I can at least understand that. I think it still really harms the game by not doing that, but still. Let's see. Joshua, real quick, thank you. Last subscription of the year. Just wanted to thank you for all the amazing year of content. Thank you so much for what you do. And honestly, your streams are like a great company to me while I play games or do stuff around my place. Thank you so much for what you do. I hope 2026 brings Even more great content, memes, inside jokes, and fun times with the stream. I wish you a Merry Christmas, an excellent New Year, and an even better start of the new year to you, Nikki, the kids, pets, and to the community. Thank you, Josh. Very sweet message. Thank you, my friend.
At
And
Kyle
all the same to you.
1720
Have a wonderful
donated
holiday.
$10 through Super Chat. Embark rated Arc so Bungie could raid Art.
Is that like a triple entendre? That broke my brain, dude. Embark rated Arc so Bungie could raid Art. That's funny. That's funny. Did I miss it, Timothy? Real quick, Liukin, thank you for the membership there. Let's see, I read Fade's message. I read that one. Guitar. Weird. Where'd it go? Oh, wait, there it is, Jimothy. 19 months. Booyah. Were we ever able to confirm if that was indeed the back of Jor's head? Great question. Great question. And I'll show you this before we continue the marathon thing, because I tweeted it out. It was Jor's head. And in fact, Redberry was sitting next to him. And they sent me this picture, which was watching the stream while at some stupid corporate event or whatever. Who knows where they were, but it's pretty cute. Like, my dream's officially accomplished. They're watching the stream while sitting in the second row at the actual event. It's pretty funny. Shout out Redberry. Yeah, Redberry posted this too. This is Redberry turning around. He's sitting next to Jor right there. So it was them. It was them, which is pretty funny. Okay, continuing on. What I was saying is, I do think that this could seriously help Marathon, just in that now there's millions of players who understand extraction shooters as a genre who didn't before, and they understand it in large part because of our creators. And if this game comes out March, it could be at the perfect time where people are kind of burning out on our creators a little bit. They're just looking for something different, and this could offer them something in the same vein. The other thing is, there's a lot of Apex players looking for something to sink their teeth into. This game plays very similarly to Apex if you've not tried it, in a good way, I think. I love Apex. I used to grind ranked Apex arenas. It was my like no life grind. I loved arenas in Apex Legends before they took it out. And so this, like, in terms of gunplay and styling, I eat it up. So I think Apex players will like what they're seeing. I think that there's also a lot of Extraction players that will like it. And there's a lot of players who just are looking for something different, first-person shooter, that this will appeal to. Arenas was highly underrated. Dude, for real. Oh man, I played so many rounds of Arenas. It's unbelievable. You know, like in Apex, you have the badges for what you've accomplished. All my badges are like Arenas achievements and stuff. But anyway.
And then there's the loud, bombastic action moments where the minute something is alerted, the minute you're in that fight, now it's go time. Players particularly pose a lot of danger to you. They can make a lot of decisions that you might find illogical and completely trick you into scenarios. Sometimes the best loot box is another player that you see along the run. So there's a few different ways you can play the game. So one of them is you can play in group, both with your friends.
So already, like, the UI, I mean, we knew that the UI was going to be overhauled and significantly improved. So, you know, that's not a shock that it looks way better, but it's nice seeing it in action, because the previous UI was like super bland, very work in progress. And I mean, this is just night and day. Well, again, we knew it was happening, but it's still nice to see. You can see you also take a quest with you whenever you start the round. So that's what's associated there. Of course, the main weapons, shield, and healing items and stuff are all listed there. Modifiers are listed there. I want to know if they're going to mention the like cooldown for sprinting, because that was it was called heat buildup, and it was really annoying. So maybe they've overhauled that. Matthew says, hey Luke, with the super chat, thank you. Hey Luke, Lurker here. With all the talk around extraction shooters, it just makes one think, what could have been with The Last of Us multiplayer. If Marathon flops, they could bring it back to Ark's due to Ark's success. I think the problem for The Last of Us, I'm assuming that's what you mean with TLOF, The Last of Us. I think that's what you meant. I think the problem with that is that it wasn't that the game was like bad. That's not what was claimed. They basically just said in order to make this work and support it, we'd have to turn into a full live service studio. Like we turn into new Bungie. And that means no more Last of Us, no more Intergalactic Heretic Prophet, no more Uncharted. Like that would become their thing, you know? And so I think for them, it was more a process and like infrastructure issue than purely a game issue. I do think we'll see some form of The Last of Us Online, whether it's a mode in the next game or something. Like, I don't think they're going to let all that work just go to waste, but, yeah, I'm not sure if we'll ever see The Last of Us Online launch as like its own dedicated game, you know?
At that_Jake_guy donated $9.99 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
As an Apex guy, I think the Apex community is way too loyal to the game to play something else. Apex has an incredibly unique feel, and I don't think Highguard will scratch that itch.
Just my opinion. Well, to be clear, I agree Highguard probably doesn't. Highguard to me feels more like it will appeal to no one. I don't I legitimately I was like, no, it doesn't appeal to maybe Valorant. No, maybe that like I was trying to think of like any game that it like could appeal to. I don't know, dude. Even freaking Overwatch is sort of not making a comeback because it was never like dead, but like even Overwatch has gotten a good number of updates. The quality of the game is like better than it's been in a very, very long time. Like, I don't know if there's like a big weak game that is going to be losing players to be cannibalized. But I mean, Apex, I think at the very least, I've spoken to a few friends, so this is purely anecdotal, but a few of the friends that I used to play arenas with, like they've been kind of left out in the cold because they're like, don't really like the battle royale. Like I play it because I like the movement and abilities in Apex, but I'd like to try something else. People are asking for an Apex, and by people I mean at least a couple of I've spoken to. They've been asking for like an arenas or an extraction mode within Apex, which I'm like, careful what you wish for, because you might be getting it. Continuing on.
And also through crew fill, which will just match you with 2 other players. You can play solo, and you'll jump into a game with a bunch of other solo players.
Ooh.
In solo, I think.
So solo queue confirmed. When we asked them back in April, we said, can you add a solo queue? They said, we've designed the entire game around trios. You can go in solo, but you'll be playing against trios. So super high risk, high reward. Because if you can wipe an entire team, you get 3 people's loot to yourself. But they've actually gone through and added solo queuing. And he said specifically they will pair you with other solos.
You can play solo, and you'll jump into a game with a bunch of other solo players.
In solo, I think
That's
the
good.
stakes are a bit higher, right? You have only yourself to rely on.
You still have prox chat, so you can call out to other solos, but you know, you are playing a tense alliance game where it's really up to them whether or not they decide to honor or respect that alliance you might have created.
Oops. Yeah, well, it makes me wonder how the matchmaking works under the hood. Like, are they going to have... I think the discussion was around... I think it was the art director of our creators was talking about the aggression factor in matchmaking, which is something that's been speculated by the community for a while, was like the claim that more aggressive players that attack other players more often, do more PvP, get paired with each other more often. So more peaceful players, friendly, quote-unquote players, get paired with each other more than the aggressive players get paired with, which honestly just kind of makes sense. You know, like, of course, if you like PvP, pair them with other PvP focused players. And if you tend to be very friendly and you want to like trust other players, pair them with that. Maybe that doesn't work with the vibe of what they're going for here, because this like narratively, maybe it's not a very, like it doesn't work. I don't know, but it's still interesting.
It's all about figuring out what's your investment, what's your stake, when to get in, when to get out, and when to kill the other guy. Being good at Marathon is like playing poker with guns.
One of the things we've really focused on is making sure the environments are selling the tone we want to hit with the game.
We've brought a little bit of groundedness, a little bit of grit, a little bit of darkness, a little bit of that mood that kind of is necessary for an extraction shooter to feel dangerous.
Our biggest goal has always been player immersion.
Again, shout out the grass. Looks way better. You're welcome.
We're trying to keep everything as believable and realistic as possible.
So we cranked up all the material responses, feel accurate, feel realistic. You know, you'll get gloss, you'll get crud and mud. And no one of those things is all that sexy, but when you layer in just a little bit more, you know, responsive to light, a little bit more responsive to the player, things will part, water will pool. Layer in all these different things, the world becomes much more alive. It feels like a real place. And then when you're feeling like a real place and you feel in danger, now your run matters.
Yeah, this looks much better. This looks much better. Just the environments, I mean, because before it was like way too, again, I go back to the comparison of the candy grass in Willy Wonka that Augustus Gloop is shoveling into his face. Like, this looks much better.
I look back at some of the alpha shots, and it's kind of hard to tell when it's sunny or when it's rainy. Weather feels like weather now. But like when it's sunny, you get this really nice like bleaching effect. It feels bright. It feels like warm when it's sunny now.
Yeah.
I feel like we're
Bloom
just
goes a long way, dude. Bloom as a post-processing effect is goated. It looks great.
Liberating that color so much more. I think it just contributes to the whole effect.
So we have dead bodies in the game now. We also have like decay on the runners themselves. Like you'll actually see them fall apart. We're actually dropping the body. The body stays there and the body slowly decays over time as you loot it.
That is legitimately a very cool, unique thing. Does Tarkov have anything like that? I'm honestly not sure. But the idea basically being that you can figure out if somebody was just killed or if they've been dead for a while or not. Like, that's legitimately a gameplay feature and mechanic that you might not even realize is there, but it's all about your understanding of the environment. You see the body decaying, you're like, okay, they've been dead for a while. I don't need to stress. I can take my time looting. But if they have a tiny blood puddle and they look totally fine, it's fresh. Be careful. You know, I really like that.
So you come into a room and you see a bunch of carnage, but you see one body is still pristine, you know that their killer is probably close, and you are not safe. If everybody is just a messy goop, you're probably okay.
A mess of goop. No!
Audio is a huge gameplay component in Marathon. Every sound plays a function. Footsteps tell players everything. It is telling you what is the type of threat that's around you. Where are they at? Are they above you? Are they far away? Are they close by? So if I'm in bioresearch and I hear a particular material type, I know, hey, they're on the second floor and they're in this room. Our hero is the world. So we're constantly trying to figure out where can music help reinforce what is the vibe and intent of this place.
I do really like the idea of like the floors being made of different materials. And of course the runners have different soles on their feet than the like robot, whatever guards or whatever you call them, sentinels. And so they walk differently, they sound differently. So if after you play a lot of the game, you should start to be able to understand where somebody is around you based on the sound response, the material that they're stepping on, all of that. I do think that's genuinely a very cool thing. It's hard to get right though. So many games are like, we have footsteps, and then if they're close, they are louder. Like that's the extent of the audio design. But what they're aiming for sounds much more elaborate.
The discussion about the interaction between score and sound design. And I wanted to create a score that wasn't just like full of instruments you've heard before. The job was, how can I make what I'm seeing, this race to survival, even more nervous and even...
I'm sorry. This has nothing. This is ADHD brain in full force. Sorry, not sorry. Cancel me. I don't care. What is it about artists where like the boldness of their art is directly correlated to the size of their glasses. You know? Like I was talking to somebody, she like runs like the she helps run like the symphony and everything. We went to like a Christmas symphony thing the other night. And she was one of the organizers that heads up like the arts thing in this city. And she also had like huge framed glasses. And so like I didn't know who she was, but I could tell from across the room, oh, she's like in charge of something arts related, because she had the big frames on her glasses. And it's just funny. I've noticed. Maybe it's like a bold thing where it's like, yes, I'm a unique individual. I'm gonna wear the bold frames, you know? I don't know what it is. But like this guy, if you ask me what's what's his role? Programmer, level designer, whatever, I would be like, probably composer. You know, it's funny. I don't know. I wear glasses. Yes. If I ever show up wearing like big, thick rimmed glasses or something, you'll know that I like moved into game development and I'm like now very much an artsy person. I'll just sit like this 24/7. Perhaps.
Even more terrifying or even more thrilling.
Not to be clear. I like the glasses, frankly. I'm saying all of this because I'm jealous and I kind of low-key want them. Can somebody look up what those glasses are? It would be kind of funny if I wore them at the next preview event or something. Wouldn't that be funny if I showed up wearing them? They're kind of cool. I kind of dig them.
We have 4 zones, and each one of those zones has its own sort of approach to kind of level design and what it asks players to kind of think about and do. You're going to start with perimeter. You're kind of on the outskirts of the colony. It's a little more spread out. You got a little bit more areas to be safe and to sneak around, but it's also a little more straightforward.
It really brings this sense of scale. It sits like in our fantasy as expansion site for the colony on the very edges of where they had settled on Tau Ceti. UESC are also there trying to understand what has happened and secure the area. Death is a part of Marathon. It happens a lot, even on perimeter, which we talk about as a more friendly zone to new runners. You are still gonna die a lot.
Yeah, so one of the most interesting things about this whole process was when we spoke to the designers like Lars and Joe, Joe being the creative director, guy in charge of the whole game, or game director, was them discussing the survival rates, because it of course makes sense. They have all the data. They know how, like, what percentage of the time you are likely to survive when you play a certain map. It's true of Arc Raiders too. They know on this map you are expected to survive this percentage of the time, this one this percentage, and that's how they gauge difficulty. That's how they balance the PoE encounters, and because you can't really balance POV or PvP, so it's how they balance PvE encounters and you know, versus PvP. And it was really interesting because I just never really thought of that, like balancing difficulty within an extraction shooter like that. But I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. I'd have to go back and look at my video from the preview event where I referenced it. But they said something to the effect of, like, you know, the starter maps, you survive maybe like 50%, 60% of the time. But for an extraction shooter to have purpose and like be rewarding, when you extract, it should feel like an accomplishment. And if you're doing something 90% of the time, it doesn't feel like an accomplishment. It feels more like an exception when you fail. But the exception should be when you succeed and get the reward, right? And so they were trying to balance it. They're like, yeah, the really high level stuff is probably more like 30 to 40% survival rates. And I was like, yeah, I guess I just never thought of balancing it. But that's basically what they're trying to do. 50% survival rate in Tarkov is really good. Well, I think that's what they're going to be shooting in the end game stuff. So like the Marathon ship that they referenced, that is going to be like 30%, and the buy-in is crazy high, and like that's going to be for very, very few people. Would be my expectation. Like those, I don't think those lobbies will be very full because it'll be very, very high level players in there.
Attention, unauthorized runner. You are trespassing in a military security zone.
was really important to us that the UESC were not trivial to fight.
When you face them on Tau Ceti as a runner, you are the outlaw. You are trespassing.
They have a little bit of this haunted tone. So you can see they have this floating locomotion, they get these sparks, they have these sigils over their faces. Sometimes their behavior feels almost like they're possessed a little bit, like are they taking in commands from a remote AI? The elite tier is sort of like this dark blue. The mini boss
when we went to the event, Tobias,
sometimes their behavior feels almost like they're possessed.
Tobias, he's a senior concept art lead. Joe Cross, who's the art director, was not there when we went. So he handled the presentation, Tobias did, of what like the game's art was. And you'll notice in this video, apparently Joe Cross, the art director, is just not present at all, which is interesting. They did settle the dispute with Anti-Real. Apparently Anti-Real posted that it was settled to their satisfaction, which sounds like money to me personally. And shout out to that. I mean, if they take your artwork and sticker it all over the game, yeah, you should be compensated. And it sounds like they were compensated pretty nicely. So they've resolved that. But of course, the whole debacle around that is going to remain throughout the lifespan of the game. But yeah, there's no more like dispute, at least in terms of Anti-Real's art. They've come to a settlement and seemingly got a fat stack would be my expectation. Shout out to money. Exactly, Phantom. Shout out money.
At Benny Llama donated $10 through Super Chat. Hey Luke, I originally found your channel because of your Ultimate Critique series and I love the long form content.
Hell yeah.
Are there any plans for another Ultimate Critique? That was some phenomenal content.
Thank you, my friend. Yeah, basically for those videos, because they're so intensive, I always want to make sure that I do it for games that like I really feel like I have something to say. So the last one we did was for Mafia: The Old Country. It was like a 3-hour video. Prior to that, I think we did The Witcher, The Witcher 3 revisit critique thing, and then I did the Starfield saga, which was like 8 hours long. It's insane. So I still do them. I do them when I feel like I really have something to say about the game. This coming year, I'll tell you what, I think there will be a number of them. Like a number of them, because there's some big games coming this coming year that I think I will have a lot to say about, you know, whether it's the Black Flag remake or later in the year, games like GTA 6, you know, plenty of stuff to talk about in those games, I think, I would expect. Not to mention some of the other games that are probably coming that haven't been confirmed yet, you know, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. As for KCD2, yeah, now that the DLC is out, I've considered going and doing a big deep dive into that game. And to do it, I'd want to do a hardcore run. So I might do that over Christmas and into the new year, and then kind of evaluate where I'm at. I've talked about KCD2 so much, though, that I'm like, again, I don't want to just... The tricky thing is I don't want to just end up repeating everything I've already said in videos. So it's tricky. But yes, I do still make those, and I do still want to do them. They're not really the bread and butter of the channels anymore, but I do still love doing those deep dives. Yeah, hardcore and brutal. Dude, I started a new game and I checked all the boxes. I don't know what I was thinking, but yeah, I did do that. Is that Skrillex? You might have been wondering where he went. He hasn't had a hit in years. Oh, working on Marathon.
Possessed a little bit, like are they taking in commands from a remote AI?
It's a compliment. Marathon's cool. Or Skrillex is cool.
Blue. The mini boss tiers.
Dude, I haven't thought of Skrillex in ages. Bangarang. Dude, that's a throwback. You just got me so distracted. I can't deal, dude. I'm distractible enough as is. And you start that? Here we go.
The elite tier is sort of like this dark blue. The mini boss tier is more like a lilac. The boss tier is just going to be dipped in red.
They have these tendrils that latch out and leech onto you and start sucking away at your consciousness.
Suck me. God damn it, somebody's gonna clip that now. I need to just stop talking. I think that's the key. I think that's what I gotta do.
You're getting into Marsh. You're starting to understand something bad happened here, and you're seeing signs of that in a way that wasn't apparent on Perimeter.
On Dire Marsh, we've got the Anomaly, and it's this strange alien entity that has erupted up out of the ground.
You're really feeling signs that this is more of an epicenter of where things went wrong on this colony.
It's got a different style of gameplay. It's more like a central complex that is rich with overlapping areas and regions that you can find yourself kind of bleeding from one encounter to another.
It's a great map to go in when you just want some action, and you're gonna need somewhere to farm.
Each map has different weather systems. It has different dynamic events that can happen, and your approach to them is never going to be consistent.
One of the needs that the design team thought that we should have is more challenging PvE activities.
Each of our zones,
which is kind of crazy, because one of the things that like was striking to me in the playtests were that the PvE encounters, like the enemy AI for the robots, is like actually low-key scary. It's kind of intense. Like, they're good, dude. They're good. Like, they will even go and like slide cancel into jumping animations, into shooting. It's like crazy. It's crazy. Like, people in, at least in my session, because basically we played the game, we had lunch, we played the game more, and then we went into conference rooms, and then they asked us like survey questions basically about what we thought. That's when I told them the grass looks like candy, change the grass. Among other things like procs chat and everything else. It wasn't just grass, okay? Of course that was my number one concern, but one of the, like, what was surprising to me though is in that conference room, a lot of the people were asking like and saying that they should tone down the robots, because they're like, I think I died to robots more than people and it felt bad. So it's interesting that they doubled down on it. I kind of like that. I respect it.
As these bigger events that don't happen every session, but when they do happen, you'll know they're happening.
That's new.
Building these types of events into the world shake up your run and make you decide, like, what do you want to risk?
Then you get to Outpost.
The second one, the second map. Are they paying you to talk about this? Dude, I wish. Money, please. Money me now. I'm talking about this crap for free. Are you kidding me? How insane is that? How insane is that? Call me, guys. If you have money, money, please. Money now, please. Money me now.
An Outpost is a more functional, thriving UESC facility. There's scan drones flying overhead, the UESC's everywhere, there's tripwires, there's a weather hazards. It's a lot of stuff you're up against from the get-go.
Outpost is a smaller map, but it's also a lot more vertical. It's built around a specific building that we call the Pinwheel.
This is just this meat grinder of a structure that's like a corkscrewed building that has nooks and crannies and hallways, and it just becomes a real, real cluster when you're in there fighting.
The floor is raised on Outpost and nothing is free. The Pinwheel hosts some of the best loot opportunities.
But it's noisy, players are going to know you're doing it, so there's extra risks.
Whew. The character you're going to spend the most time with is the zones. Understanding each personality of every zone. That's the storytelling every player gets.
Every time you're on the planet, you can look up and see.
And, okay, this is just a pet peeve of mine. I understand that there is lore within a lot of these like multiplayer live service games. I get that. Like, there's a lot of lore within Arc Raiders even, for example. But I find it deeply cringy when like devs are trying to explain it as if it has like a really intense narrative, when I'm like, that's not why anybody's playing. Like, it's not the focus of the game, like, pick your lane. If you're going to do the narrative thing, cool. But it's like, the Concord thing, when they're like, oh, we have a revolutionary way of telling stories within our game that's never been done before. You know what it was? It was a 60-second cutscene that would rotate out every week. Like, it's just it. Come on, you know, like don't piss on my back and tell me it's raining. You know, when I can tell you had asparagus for dinner. I know what's going on. Okay, like if it's not the focus, that's okay, but don't pretend like it is. You know, it's like, and with this one, it's like, oh, the what did he say? The exact phrasing?
Oh, that's the storytelling every player gets.
It's like, okay, you're playing in the map. That's the storytelling everybody gets. I'm like, it's a map. Like, yes, you can look up, you can see the Marathon ship. That's cool. Would I count that as storytelling? I don't know. I don't know. Okay, you hating? I actually, like, honestly, I think this looks like quite good. I am pleasantly surprised. I think it actually looks quite good. Maybe that's my hot take. Cancel me. I don't care. I'll tell you what I think. I think it actually does look significantly better, not just because of the grass, though that is a major component of it. But also just like, I think they've actually listened to a lot of the feedback, things like solo queuing, proximity chat overhauls. Like, just those two are pretty major components. But other things like changing up the variability of the weather. Originally, it sounded like the second map, I think this one, Outpost, was originally going to be like mainly rainy, maybe with a couple of small modifiers, but now it's like every match is going to be completely different and altered. They've actually doubled down on the PvE elements. Like, so I think they're listening to the right feedback from the right people, not just like what they wanted to do. And honestly, let's be real. It's because they got a kick in the teeth with the art scandal that freaked them out. The feedback to the the playtest wasn't overwhelmingly positive at all initially. So they knew they needed to do some work. And then Arc Raiders came and just nailed it across the board. So it kind of forced them to piss or get off the pot. Like, you got to step up. And I mean, it seems like they've really tried. They've really tried. Let's be anti-real. Get that money, get that settlement, baby.
Every time you're on the planet, you can look up and see the ship floating and looming in the skybox.
That's cool.
Reminding you of why this place even exists.
And the endgame map is on that ship, which is kind of cool.
Also reminding you that something up happened here, and you got to figure out what it was.
Marathon has a lot of loot in it. It's a huge pie. There's a ton of different implants at every rarity. There's a ton of different...
Oh, so this is new, this like UI element. So abilities, traits, heat capacity. So heat is basically stamina. It was one of the things I was hoping they'd talk about. Maybe they still will. But the joke that like everybody made at the event was, it was, if they're called runners, why do we spend most of our time walking? And they were like, yeah, we've joked about that internally too. Yeah, everybody says that, whatever. But it's true. It was really annoying to have a character that you call a runner and then like everybody's walking. Because if you sprint, you build up heat, which is just kind of like an inverted stamina gauge, which normally you would drain, but with heat, it builds up. And once it reaches the top, you can't sprint anymore, and it takes a while to cool down while you basically catch your breath and cool down. And it was super freaking annoying because it just is. Nothing feels worse than being in a game like Apex. Imagine a game like Apex where you can't sprint. Otherwise you overheat and like you have to slow down for 15 seconds. It's just annoying. Like, the movement is really cool in the game, but that particular thing prevents you from doing it. Now, what they said was, we built it that way to make you start weaker, and then later in the game there are permanent upgrades and things, including core upgrades and things that will increase your heat capacity to allow you to run further, faster, and even have like heat cool down much faster and things like that. And I appreciate it, but it needed balancing, because the version we played, it was pretty busted to the point where it was just annoying. It was like high intensity gunfight. Let me slowly walk around the corner. Okay, now I'm going to shoot. I'm going to walk over there because I need my stamina in case somebody jumps me. So it just slowed down fights in this really weird way. So I hope they talk about that. Anyway.
Runner cores for each runner.
Oh, the other thing I was going to look at, the other stats. Yeah. Finisher Siphon, revive speed, hardware, firewall, fall resistance, ping duration. All of these stats are there. Melee damage, loot speed, tactical. I mean, interesting. So they've got all those different stats, and they're going to be different for each runner as well. At least that's what it was back when we played it. So runners will have different stats and are better at different things, which makes sense.
Runner, there's over 400 weapon mods. Like, it's just an outlandish number of items to collect.
There's going to be a really interesting period of discoverability where players sort of figure out, what are the pieces that I have available to me? How do I get them? And how do I put them together into something that's awesome?
You can go through and look at how many iconic weapons have come from Bungie. And it's something that we really want to hold up and make sure that we're matching that legacy.
The gunplay in the game
they're
does
all
feel good.
really, really distinct and clearly Marathon. But we wanted animation-wise, a majority of them to feel recognizable. So when you put them in your hands, you knew how to use them.
Mods will basically allow you to increase certain stats on the guns, that battery SMG. The gold mod, full-blown, turns it into the Needlet. The sidearm is a gun that is effective in close quarters, but maybe not too much outside of that. But the gold mod on this gun puts a suppressor on it, and then when I kill something with this gun, I turn invisible. And then that lends it to other build crafting if I want to sort of stack into how invisible can I be.
Even some weapon mods can improve stats.
Dude, I can imagine that being infuriating. Infuriating to play against. Like, okay, this is a deep cut. Did any of you guys ever play the game Hood? Does that even ring a bell? Do you remember Hood? It doesn't exist anymore. It's like dead and gone. Canceled and server shut down. Let's see. Yeah, this. 4 years ago. It was not great, but it was an attempt at like a co-op or team-based, like objective game. I don't even know how you describe it, but we tried it back in the day, me, my wife, and a couple of friends, and it was totally busted at launch because one of the characters could pop invisibility and then camp on objectives and then had like an insta-kill. And it was the most infuriating thing ever. On the subreddit, like one of the most common things of people posting was the invisibility thing made me quit the game. Like whatever the chick was that had that ability. It was like infuriating because it was just like enough to piss you off. What did they end up scoring it? Yeah, it's about right. It's about right. It just was not very good. There were a couple of like key things where you're like, did you guys not test this? Like nothing feels worse than playing a game like that, doing well, and then you die for some really cheap, what feels like unearned reason. At least this, there's ways they could balance it, but I can tell you, like the idea that your team is getting jumped and then somebody comes in and is invisible, just killed the guy, pops invisibility again, now can't really be seen, and then jumps you again, dude. I'd scream.
Some weapon mods can improve stats, and
to be clear, it's not full invisibility. Like it's this where it kind of turns you. You can still see the outline, and like you push through the plastic door, so you'd see that move. So like if you're paying attention, you know where the guy is. Like you can still hit him, but you have to be paying attention. Like if this guy is in the periphery of your vision, you might not see him, but yeah, invisibility, you got to be careful balancing, otherwise it can feel like the most unearned cheap thing ever. It sucks. But anyway, continuing.
Even some weapon mods can improve stats and your runner shell's capabilities, so there's lots of different ways to raise the floor of your stats so that you're coming into each run strong.
Okay.
shells are a bioprinted body that you inhabit when you go down to Tau Ceti to scavenge the ruins of the Lost Colony.
Show me cosmetics.
Each of our launch shells is really an archetype of gameplay. So if you want to play like a frontline tank, if you want to play a rat character that wants to sneak around, if you want to find those rats, we have our shell for you.
The idea there is like have a broad spectrum that everyone can kind of find a little bit of a home to, and then we're going to build on top of that.
Cores and implants mold the kit into a playstyle that you want.
So examples of those are like on Thief, I get a second grapple. On Destroyer, I pull out my Riot Barricade, and as it takes damage, it's actually converting that damage into shield back to me.
And these can be used in combination with each other to shift the gameplay style of your runner kit.
Okay.
At any point you feel like you don't want to risk anything, or maybe you're down on your luck and you want the opportunity to get back, Rook's your guy.
Rook is a prototype runner shell.
It's a mode where we make it easy for you to just kind of drop into a match that's in progress and run about and try to scavenge as much as possible.
If you are going in solo to a run that's already in progress, you don't have a team, you have a very limited loadout, but you're not risking anything. This lets you kind of get in, grab a little bit of loot, and then bail.
So when you get like a really powerful gun or implant or core, it is unlocking some new space or new challenge that you've never done before, and the loot is helping you reach greater heights.
So that's interesting. So they're going to have a mode where you specifically load in solo into trio matches. And they're matches that are already in progress. So other players have already started fighting and gathering loot and all that stuff. But you go in with effectively a free loot pack. And there's no risk to it. It's just your time. So that also would encourage people to go in and play hyper aggressively, right? Because you've got nothing to lose. So it's sort of a way to fix the end of round problem with extraction shooters, which is after like 10, 15 minutes, a lot of people have already extracted. And so now there's just a few others that play like super slow and nothing happens in the match after the first like 10, 15 minutes. But this would inject new players into it, which is interesting. And new hyper aggressive players who have nothing to lose. Interesting. It's the problem with Arc right now is the free loadout. Well, this is why this may also introduce its own suite of problems, because what happens in extraction shooters historically is that players go in there, they collect a lot of great loot, they bring it back into their stash, and then they sit on it because they gathered it, they don't want to lose it, and they don't want to risk it. So like they get that legendary weapon. It's an incredible weapon that they got off Shroud because they jumped him somehow. But they don't want to use it because it's so valuable. They're like, if I lost this, I would be depressed for a week. So they just don't. And then you just end up sitting on all the cool stuff. It's like in an RPG when you get the potion of greater healing and it's like, this is an amazing potion. I will save it for when I really need it. And you end up playing through the entire game never using it. You know, because you're like, it's too valuable. It's too valuable. And so the tricky thing with extraction shooters is how do you encourage people to use their stuff? Because if you give them a way to not need to use their stuff, they'll just not use their stuff. So I'm hearing this mode and I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. I think I would almost exclusively play that mode. And then only jump in with teammates when like my friends were online. So that makes me think that like, maybe I'm alone, but like I think a lot of us would just swarm into the Rook mode or whatever they said, and just play that way so that we could gather loot without a risk. There is prox chat, so you could, make deals with parties and teams, but I think the whole idea with the Rook archetype, at least from what they just described, sounds like it's to encourage players to be super aggressive because they have nothing to lose. It's interesting.
like a really powerful gun or implant or core, it is unlocking some new space or new challenge that you've never done before, and the loot is helping you reach greater heights.
The one thing that they're doing, which I think could help with that, forcing you to use the good loot, is at least how it was when we tried it. There was a minimum loadout value that was required to reach higher level maps. So like if you want to go into the marathon ship, you need $250,000 worth of stuff equipped just to load into that map. So they force you to use the good stuff to get into the high level maps that have even better stuff. As opposed to just like having a difficulty level where it's like you can go in there, it's just the PvE stuff is more difficult. Like I think that could also help.
Faction agents are such a big vehicle for tone and narrative for the world.
Yeah, each faction has their own motivations, their own desires, the things they're going to ask you to do.
We've got Traxxas. They're the most powerful corporation in human history. They have very long arms and very deep pockets to kind of get what they want.
So they might.
I'm so stupid, dude. They said long arms, and I was like, oh, like they're long. Like, oh, he meant metaphorically. Ah, okay. This is why I'm a YouTuber and I'm not making video games.
Ask you to go and find specific weapons or mods.
Congratulations, runner. Your last performance evaluation was rated on track.
If you're a PvP player, one of the factions is called Arachne. They're essentially a death cult. What that translates to is that they're asking you to go and kill other runners.
The sacred thermodynamics of violence.
Mida is all about destruction.
Yeah, and this is interesting. Whoops, I got lit up. This is interesting because it's a game, or the factions have quests associated with them that are each tied to a play style. And I wonder if like that's also a weirdly sneaky way they could matchmake, you know? Maybe like if they see a player that's leveled up this PvP based faction and they're really high level in that faction, they're like, okay, they are a PvP player primarily because that's where, you know, they've put all their efforts. So we're going to match them with other people that are heavy in PvP. And then maybe if you have a more peaceful faction, you pair those people together. That could be interesting. Could be interesting. Oh no, are they making you PvP in a PvP game? Well, here's the thing. The PvP is quite fun in extraction shooters when you go in with that mindset. There are, however, it seems, a lot more people out there who like to go and play quote unquote friendly, you know. And those more casual players, they are much greater in number. They may not be as hardcore, so maybe their hour play counts are not as high. But I think it's important to also try and keep those players happy if you want the widespread, the wide gamut of players available to you. Arc Raiders has done a really good job of it, where if you want to go and you worked a 12-hour shift and you want to come just put 30 minutes into the game, you can do that. And they have some way of matching you seemingly primarily against other players who are less aggressive. But if you want to go be PvP demon mode, that's cool. It was also funny. We were talking about that in the context of Arc Raiders, and some people just did not understand the distinction with like toxicity. Being like playing PvP is not toxic. That's part of the game, right? I'm not saying that like you attacking another player is toxic. Okay, that's not toxic. What is toxic is going through voice chat, prox chat, and saying, I'm friendly, you're friendly, great, let's do this, and then shooting them in the back of the head. Like, that makes you an a-hole. Okay, I don't care what anybody says. That's stupid. That makes you a bad person. You know? Like, I don't trust you, and I never will. You know, that I feel is toxic. If you're just like tricking people and lying to them, that's toxic. But maybe some people disagree. It's part of the game. Don't trust people. Okay, I guess. I still don't have to like it, you know. You know, your stream is featured on YouTube, whatever that means. Oh. I don't know what that means either. Who knows? Well, shout out YouTube for featuring. Let's see. About stamina, says Ismail with super chat. About stamina, runner shells are basically robots that run directly on or run on electricity, which generates heat, especially when it draws more power to sprint. Yes. Yes. What I said is it needs to be balanced so that it doesn't feel like you're trying to sprint underwater. Know what I'm saying? Like, I understand that explanation, but I feel like they could make it better. You know? See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? You know, it's the distinction between like something being justified in the world doesn't necessarily make it fun. You know?
At Velvet Patterns donated 10 euros through Super Chat. The
Gabagool.
Tarkov player base is nearly split 50-50 between the PvP side and the PvE side. The PvE side thrives due to the weapon system, lore, vibes, and the unofficial mods on the single-player
Tarkov mod. I gotta find a way to lengthen it. It always cuts off the last like few words. Yeah, well, and I think that that's like even the most hardcore games like a Tarkov still have an audience of people who like want to go and do the PvE thing, you know? And I think that's fine. I think that's good. If you can find a way to keep both sides of the coin happy, awesome. And that's why I think it's important to have something like Prox Chat to enable communication and discourse. You know, if somebody wants to be friendly and not jump these people, they can do that. And you know, it's also healthy for the community. Dude, we were playing Arc Raiders and literally came across a dude who was like super high level. Crazy. I don't even know like how high level he was, but dude, he dropped a couple of like, this is when we were just starting in the game. He dropped like a couple of blue weapons for us and like some nice shields and stuff that he was just carrying on him. And he said that he was loading into matches and rounds to just spread the love, is what he called it. Spread the love. And so he's like giving low level starting players really good loot to help them get their feet under them in the game. I was like, that's freaking cool, dude. That's a good thing to have in the communities. People willing to do that type of thing. And I think that is what can reinforce like a healthy community. A healthy community. Was it Cone? Dude, maybe it was. Maybe it was. That would be funny if it was. Who knows? Does Co play at night, like US time? Probably, right? Oh, maybe it was. That'd be freaking funny. That'd be freaking funny. That's crazy. Anyway, YouTube chat is wild, dude. Every day. Now, people. So we'll continue going through this, of course. But I think what's going to be really interesting is how or if they are able to shift the narrative for Marathon. I think everything I'm seeing looks significantly improved. Okay, the art theft stuff seems to have been resolved with Anti-Real getting a fat stack. Okay, what do they call it? Got a cheddar cheese plate, a platter, as it were. So I think Anti-Real is doing just fine right now. But the discourse around the game has no doubt been extremely negative. I think that this looks good, but they will need to continue to keep things going in a way that excites people and keeps things positive. Some might say a bag or a wad. I like wad. Wad is good. I think it's going to take more work, and they're going to get to the price point, which, yes, there is a price point. So we'll talk about that, but we'll continue. But I want to encourage people to not just throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like, let's try to keep a level head, be fair about it. You know, I think that's the key, because exactly the point of skepticism is not just being a cynical prick. Cynicism and skepticism are different. They are very different, and some people confuse the two. Certainly do. Even with like High Guard, which was just revealed at the Game Awards, there's a lot of cynicism around that game, and I don't necessarily blame people for being cynical about live service hero shooters. Kind of makes sense. A lot of them are just like soulless and corporate, so I can see that. But That's not what you should aim to be. Like, you should aim to be skeptical, resist the cynical urges, be skeptical, and maybe it'll lead you to the same conclusion, but, you know, try to approach it in a different, more level-headed way, right? But let's continue. And we'll talk about Highguard after this. Don't worry. You better believe we're talking about Highguard. Yeah, who do you think you're dealing with? We'll talk about Highguard. Continuing.
They are going to give you grenades. They're going to give you claymores. They're going to let you blow the place up.
And they are irreverent and dangerous. They might ask you to upload this malware into a UESC dropship, and as it leaves, it explodes and careens off into the distance.
We have big plans. Explosive, visionary.
Each of our factions has an upgrade tree that you unlock progressively as you gain reputation.
Well, that looks way better. Okay.
And along the way, you're going to unlock these capstones that are these special upgrades. When you unlock that final capstone, you're gaining access to the best stuff in the market. You're getting gold items.
In addition, these faction upgrades can increase your runner's base stats, and those base stat upgrades are permanent for the rest of the season.
For the rest of the season. So it'll reset. I wonder how long the seasons are. Of course, you have to do this, otherwise the game just kind of plateaus if you don't reset stuff. But that's also a thing Arc Raiders is dealing with right now, is that, like, it's a big moment when that first season wipe comes along. You got to do it in the right way, otherwise people get pissed.
Access denied.
Darius, you know me. Did you miss your last round of maintenance?
Don't search. Don't dig. Don't question.
Darius?
Access denied.
Hey,
Access
it's
denied.
okay. It's just me.
You're not alone.
The Codex is a suite of achievements, collectibles, audio logs, things that you're finding in Run that we're going to track for you over time. The more you find these items, the more story you're unlocking about them and what their role is in the world, why they're here, who cared about them, why they're as valuable as they are.
I'm repeating myself with these entries, but any fears inherent in the scope of this endeavor seem unfounded.
Within the Codex, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can unlock. Runner skins, weapon charms, stickers, emblems, backgrounds for your profile, and titles.
So it's every...
What's interesting is when we tried it in April, none of this was in the game at all. So, like, they asked us what was something cool in terms of, like, customizing your runner that you'd like to see. And so people were like, you know, maybe some decal stickers on the guns, of course, different skins for the runners and stuff. But they're describing this in the context of like objectives and things, but this is also shop stuff.
Within the Codex, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can unlock. Runner skins.
Yeah, which they call shells, or that's what they planned on calling them. But basically just different skins for each of the runners, just cosmetic.
Weapon skins, weapon charms, stickers, emblems, backgrounds for your profile, and titles.
So it's everything.
And frankly, if that's what gets you going, cool. I don't personally understand why people are willing to spend so much money on like a digital sticker, but if that's what gets you going, cool. It's just not I've never understood that vibe, you know, because some people go hard for it, dude. Some people go hard for it, like crazy, for skins and stuff. It's a little wacky. Like if this were like Where Winds Meet and I could get a goose mount, now we're talking. Goose mount, I'm down for that. But a sticker, what are we doing? In-game candles, now we're talking. Now I'll buy those. They got me there.
From your first steps on the world of Tau City 4 all the way through to becoming a Vidmaster and taking on the most extreme challenges.
The Marathon ship is the hardest place to survive in this game. And if you're not ready to take your best stuff, well, you're not going to survive. It's like a heist for a runner. Cryo Archive is big in and of itself, but it's also cold. It's also hostile.
It's gonna test every aspect of the survival game. Probably gonna be forced to run to players in ways you haven't been on other maps. You're gonna run into basically every type of environmental threat you have faced before. You're gonna fight a who's who of the highest tier UESC units, and the UESC are there in this presence you haven't seen before.
It's really cool because each of the vaults is more successively challenging than the next. And that 7th vault is where you both are going to get the coolest thing, but also where you're going to learn the most about what happened to this place.
At some point in your journey in Cryo Archive, you might start wondering if the UESC are there to keep you out or if they're actually there to keep something else in.
Uh-oh!
Nice.
Looks like a raid boss to me. That's what that looked like to me. A little Destiny 2 raid boss action. Sounds like it.
I think the thing that I'm most excited about for Marathon is getting into the hands of our players.
The biggest thing I want people to take away from Marathon is that it still feels amazing. It still feels like it has that spark.
It takes all the aspects that I think Bungie is really good at. First-person feel and gunplay, the super deep, crazy sci-fi lore, and it mixes up all those things together in a really amazing PvP package.
Really comes down to every single discipline that's working on the game. The animation has to be good, the sound has to be good, everything has to be working in harmony.
That's when the controller fades away, the screen fades away, you're just immersed in the world. That is what we're trying to live up to with Marathon.
It is a mad dash. I'm not going to front about that. It's a mad dash to the finish, but that's when you got to put in the elbow grease and the extra sweat and blood it takes to get this done.
Dude, what is this? What is it? Let's go. 5 people in the extract.
I might recognize who that was.
Dude, what is this? What is it? Let's go. 5 people in the extract.
Okay. Okay. I think I know who that was, but I'm not gonna. I don't know 100%, so I won't shout it out because I'm not sure. But I'll see if he replies back. Coming March 2026. Now there are a couple of other things to know about this that have also come out. Okay. Right here. Wait, obligatory. Boom! Here. Okay, there we go. Okay. So it is. Here it is. This is in their official document. As you can see, new features since the alpha. Proximity chat, solo queue, Rook. A runner shall use to scavenge matches in progress. Specifically, that one I do think sounds legitimately quite unique. The fact that the runners and the corpses decay over time, that's really cool. Something I would still like to see is the ability to drag the bodies of your teammates to revive them around corners or something. Like if somebody gets downed in the open, I'd love to be able to grab their body, pull them behind cover, and then res them, as opposed to having to res them in out in the open. But that's also something I requested back in April. It seems like they've not done that one. They did do the grass though, so shout out grass. As for other stuff, you can see they go through everything that they talked about in the video, but where to go? Well, I'll just show you this. The price has been confirmed to be at $40. They're releasing it at $40 as a premium title. It will launch in March, and that's the tactic that they are taking. They've been consistent that it was going to be a premium experience, that it was going to be something that they charge for. And that's not really a surprise. You know, we knew that, but I think it's also been reaffirmed by the fact that Arc Raiders just launched at 40 and found plenty of success. And let's be honest, I think the big thing that they're doing is they are looking to Arc Raiders and being like, can we get any of those players who are starting to burn out on Arc Raiders, or maybe want an extraction game that is first person? You know, can we get them to come and try our game? Clearly they're willing to spend $40. So let's do that. And I do think this makes more sense than like, for example, like High Guard, I think needs to be free to play. It needs to be free to play because its competition is all free to play. Like whether you look at Overwatch or Marvel Rivals or any other hero, you know, shooter, they're pretty much all free to play. So you're trying to compete against the free guys, so you got to be free. Whereas extraction shooters historically tend to be a premium package. There are some free to play ones, of course, but they tend to be, at least the really popular ones, they tend to be paid. I'll just admit you're broke. It's okay. So I personally don't think the $40 price point, after seeing the success of Arc Raiders, I don't think that that's like, you know, a death knell or anything. As for how this plays out, when it launches, Arc Raiders will be what, 5 months old? 5 going on 6 months old. Historically, live service games start to get like a little stale at that like 6-month mark, so they could time out quite well, especially if they don't have a lot of fresh like maps or other content coming to Arc Raiders, but I would expect they do, but we'll see how it kind of plays out. As for other stuff, we know that Marathon, being part of Bungie, they have quite the marketing budget associated with them, and I think that I think the odds are pretty high that you'll see like a lot of sponsored streams and stuff, which will certainly help them when the time comes, whether it's like, you know, Shroud playing it for a bit or whoever. What they showed overall, I think does look like a huge step up. Just in general, they've definitely done multiple rounds of polishing. The environments look way better. UI looks way better. They seem to have overhauled some pretty key mechanical things like prox chat, like solo queuing. Again, the Rook shell is very interesting to me. I think that that's probably where a lot of us will spend time if we play this, is in the Rook shell, going in no risk, you know, because like you guys said, it's basically the free loadout. But what's going to be really interesting is how the narrative shifts. If we look at a page like Shinobi, who, you know, I think is just generally pretty middle of the road in terms of the industry, not really somebody that comments or editorializes much. In his replies, you can see actually looks like a good amount has been done. I'm much more interested than I was before, at least. Solo play, I thought this game was multiplayer. It's solo queuing. Somebody just doesn't know how that works. Didn't realize Steve Cotton was the creative lead, one of the greatest multiplayer level designers of all time. Lockout, Midship, Sanctuary, Zanzibar. That world looks much improved and sinister from the alpha they spit out prior. This might actually have a chance to be distant. I don't believe you. Yeah, people are misunderstanding based on his post. They think solo play. No, it's solo queuing. Solo queuing. That's okay. I see why people are confused. But even on the like comment section of this, let's look at what people are saying. Okay. Let's see, because bear in mind, just a matter of months ago, their comment sections were flooded with nonstop negativity, which I would argue is mostly fair for what was going on, especially at the time. But let's see what people are saying now. Laura says, "Oh wow, the corpse decay thing is so cool," which I agree. That is genuinely really cool. I don't know why other games haven't done that yet. That's really good. If I get to the 7th vault and I'm not being verbally harassed by Durandil, I don't know what I'd do with myself. The soundtrack still bangs. This looks so much better than the original reveal. If this gameplay came out first, the community probably would have had a whole different reaction. Crazy to think that this is supposed to be out months ago. It's almost like if you give developers time to polish and a little fire under their butt, They can do some incredible things. Because this game has been in development for like years and years. I think, was it Dr. Lupo was saying he had been consulting on this for like 5 years or something like that? Like he'd been working on it for a long time. And so it's come together quite suddenly, but I think it's also that like we've seen this from many different studios, but Marvel Rivals comes, gives Blizzard a kick in the butt with Overwatch, and all of a sudden they start freaking out and pumping out updates for Overwatch, and they overhaul it and made it work and updated with tons of new stuff. Like it was night and day in a matter of like 6 months. It was crazy. And same with Arc Raiders coming along and like freaking out Bungie to the point where they're like, oh God, okay, we got to really focus and try. And they added in stuff they weren't going to do before, which I think will make the game much better. Rilo, I always thought Marathon's art direction had amazing potential, but the shift in visual direction in-game recently, it's actually constantly screenshot worthy. They definitely made it a lot more gritty. Yo, the foliage and environments look so much better. You're welcome, Black Doc. Yes, I'm going to take exclusive credit for the grass. Let me have this. Maybe, wouldn't it be funny if in the other conference room, like I felt like I was going on a limb being like, hey, the grass looks like candy. But in the other room, everybody else was saying it. So it's like, Luke, that's not a unique take, but I'm glad they changed it. Excellent that the bodies stay in decay now. More detailed customization would be welcome too. You are a runner. Emphasis should be on the you, which... okay. This is currently my most anticipated game. Weather conditions are sick. Seeing Steve Cotton again after Forsaken gives me hope. I played in 3 of the technical tests and they have improved so much each time. Cannot wait for March. This is a massive improvement over what we saw in April. Great to see all the feedback taken on board. Let's hope it's a success. Getting there, this is great progress. The improvements are crazy. Good, can't wait. Solo queue and prox chat, great. This looks really good, and I feel the success of Arc Raiders might not be detrimental to Marathon. Quite the opposite. It probably primed a lot of the audience who wouldn't be interested in extraction shooters otherwise, and it should be coming out late enough for people to start getting bored a bit with Arc Raiders. And all of this, I think, is like legitimately true. A lot of these look so much better. Bro hitting the G spot on that piano. What a way to say that. What a way to say that.
Brandon X donated $10. I'm actually really excited for Marathon. I haven't really played extraction shooters, but seeing the art style and short film and also seeing some unique gameplay features got me hooked on it. Definitely gonna take it out.
Yeah, I think I don't know if they're gonna do a play test or anything. I would imagine they do like a beta in like February. That would be my guess, just to let people try it and do some testing. But I think it's actually, what's funny is that the delay that happened as a result of the art situation, the art theft situation, Art Raiders, whatever. The delay that happened in large part because of that, and also the playtest, but you know, the art was certainly a major component of it. I think that actually probably set them up much, much better because it forced Sony to give them more time. They're like, we can't launch it right now with how negative everything is. So we've got to delay it. They delayed it, and that amount of time that they got extra has like significantly improved it. Because again, bear in mind, I think, wasn't the original release date in September? Can you imagine if it came out 3 months ago? And like, this is where they're at now after all those extra months, but they would have had to lock it down way earlier. Like, it would have been a disaster. It would have been a disaster. It's like I've said for months. I think if they had launched in the original window, there's like a 0% chance it would have found success. Like 0% chance. Now, I'd say there's like, especially after seeing this, I'd say there's like 5 to 10% chance that it gets like a solid audience, maybe more, maybe it's upwards of like 15 to 20%. It's still an uphill battle, certainly, but I think they're in a much better spot given like how much time they've had, how much work they've done to overhaul it, the, I think, necessary features like prox chat, and the tone is shifting. I mean, again, yeah, finally the graphic realism we were initially expecting is here. Like, not gonna lie, this looks so much better. It looks better than earlier this year. Definitely gonna give this a try when it drops. Finally, this looks great, way better than before. This looks so much better, Bungie. Please keep cooking and take your time. 2X Burger, Mouth, Friend Mouth. I don't understand this comment. Am I a boomer? Is this... I don't understand what this means. Is it literally just, I'm not going to try to make sense of it. It's one of those things. The more I think about it, I'm just gonna I don't know. Moving on. Let's continue. Anyway, Sony probably threatened to send those devs to work on Destiny 2 again if they didn't get it together. Dude, we're gonna make you work on Destiny. Get it together. Come on. The world actually feels alive now. The playtest has been such fun so far. I'm really looking forward to this. Not going to lie, Bungie's cooking, boys. Trust me. I mean, granted, these are a lot of very passionate folks. If we look over at the PlayStation upload, let's see what that looks like. Voila. This is the PlayStation upload, separate from Bungie. So you could argue that Bungie's comments are going to be more positive, maybe. Let's see what they say. Robin says looks significantly better. It's a timestamp. We'll skip past that for now. For those who don't know, Anti-Real, the artist they stole from, said they reached an agreement. So either they're getting paid or the artist changed. I'm not sure. I think it's both. I think they removed the stuff because they had to do that during the dispute. It's why in that live stream they didn't show any, like the director's live chat that they did. They didn't show any gameplay because they were stripping out all of those assets. So I think they both removed those decals that they used, and I think the artist got paid. I think probably they signed, almost certainly they signed an NDA, so we'll never hear about the deal. But I think they posted that they reached a settlement and an agreement to their satisfaction. So either way, they're happy. Looks like they changed the constant fluorescent color scheme because this was easier on my eyes, so there's hope. Yeah, I think it looks better. Credit where it's due. This looks like you took the feedback serious and made some great changes. Okay, this looks so much better than a few months ago. All right, Prox Chat, another notch in the hope side. Would be nice if this is a single-player narrative-driven game. Too bad it's not. Yeah, sure. I would agree. I mean, it doesn't look bad. We'll take that as a positive. It doesn't look crappy. I don't know. Looks neat. Dude, neat is such a funny word when you're like complimenting something. Did you like my musical, mommy? It was neat. It's like the most okay kind of compliment. I enjoyed the tech test a bit. Really wish there was some sort of campaign or PvE mode. Without, I just can't justify buying it personally without a deep sale at least. Okay. Sure. Somewhere Durandal is crying. Well, it looks like they made a lot of improvements. I like the colors of the design. They got Arthur Morgan up in here. Okay, what is that? What this is? Hold on, 1926.
I'm repeating myself with these entries, but any fears inherent in the scope of this endeavor seem unfounded.
Dude, wait, is that Arthur Clarke? It sounds like him. I didn't pick up on that initially.
Them, why they're as valuable as they are.
I'm repeating myself with these entries, but any fears inherent in the scope of this endeavor seem unfounded.
Within the code.
Or Arthur Clarke, Roger Clark, sorry. Who knew? Well, there you go. That's crazy. I didn't pick up on that initially. But when you go back and you look at the original gameplay reveal, like what we just looked at looks so much better. This was the original reveal. And everything is way too bright. It's too vivid and like glowing. It's kind of like cartoony. I don't know. Again, the grass. I can't emphasize the grass enough, man. I think it looks way, way better now. Way better. So, personally, after all of this, I didn't expect to be saying this, this morning, but I'm glad to be saying it. I think, or I guess it's afternoon, Jesus. I think it was a good reveal. I think that they are in a much better spot than they were certainly over the summer. I think that they actually stand a chance now. And I think they're actually in a pretty solid spot. To see almost all of the comments being positive, and all of the comments we saw on their Bungie page positive, that's like a pleasant surprise. It's like, okay, now we have to see how things shift and evolve and change, because obviously this just dropped, but the worst case scenario is if people have already settled on apathy. If people have already dismissed the game and aren't going to consider it, you've already lost. it's posted 4 hours ago. It's a 65,000 views. Usually what you see public facing is a bit behind what we see as like YouTubers behind the scenes. So like if I had a video posted 4 hours ago and it says 65 on the page, it might actually be at like 85 to 90. It just doesn't reflect or update as fast for viewers. But I think, you know, if this continues to climb and people get exposed to this new gameplay, I think the narrative could shift. And that could certainly help it. I think it's just going to be very interesting to see if they can start to shift the narrative. They have time to do it. They've got a few months. And I think that they're going to put some money behind it to try and make it happen. They'll do the commercials and the teasers and stuff. But what I'm seeing here is much, much better and actually includes some fresh ideas that, again, the corpse degradation thing is really, really cool. So I'm excited to see where they go with this. I'm really excited. But I think it's looking better than it ever has. And they could have a bit of an underdog story. I still think it's like a 15%, 10 to 20% chance, something like that, that it finds success. But we'll see. We'll look at it. It's going to be the best grass of the TGA Awards. I'll email Jeff and see if they can add a category for that. Yeah. We'll try to make it happen. We'll try to make it happen. And the winner of the Game Award for Best Grass goes to Marathon. Dude, that'd be great. I'm running a marathon in March. Dude, mad respect. I'm at the point where I've never been able to run because of asthma. But I've been training for like a year. And now I can run like 3-4 miles in, you know, one go, and I'm not dying, and I don't need an inhaler anymore. So I've gotten much, much better. I don't know if I'll ever push for like a marathon. I think half marathon might be my max that I'd be comfortable with, but yeah, congrats, dude. You're a better man than I. Yeah. Good job. Good for you. Well, I appreciate it. It was just one of those things. Like I used to think that it was just normal if you did like a lot of physical exertion that your lungs just felt like they were filling up with water. I thought that was normal. I was like, no wonder people don't like working out. It feels like you're drowning on the inside. And then I realized, oh, that's not normal. You shouldn't feel like your lungs are filling up with water. So I got an inhaler. I started working out and doing like it started as running, like more of a light trot, but started doing that back in like January, February of this year, and all year have really stuck with it, going to like do Orange Theories and stuff, and running like multiple times a week, anywhere from like 2 to 5 times a week. And it started out not great. Tell you what, not great. But now I'm like doing much better. Part of it is that my dad, he tells me, like, he was a Marine, and he would just casually tell me, yeah, so when we were in the Marines, like we would do 3-mile runs, and my time was in the 16-minute range, somewhere like that. It's like my times, you know, I was at like a 5.5 minute pace, basically. I was like, bro, what? But that's how they do it in the Marines, dude. They're crazy. They're insane. Yeah, once a Marine, always a Marine. So I made the mistake of letting one of the coaches at Orange Theory know about that. And she, whenever I start to lag, she starts yelling, your dad could do this way faster than you. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. It's what you need, you know? It's what you need. So now I don't even use an inhaler when I run. Now I can do it without an inhaler. I still occasionally get like a little tightness, but I can do it without an inhaler. Train myself off of it. So I encourage you guys, if you ever wanted to do it, like, do it. Do the thing. Just start working on it. Don't give up on yourself. Yesterday you said today, so just do it. And you know what? Once you've done it, you know what you're going to be saying to yourself? You know how you'll be feeling? Boom! Just like that. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday you said tomorrow, so just do it. Oh, it's goated. They did They did, by the way. This is interesting. So the AC Black Flag resynced Peggy rating that leaked on the 9th, which is part of the reason everybody thought it was going to be at the Game Awards, that the whole website search functionality was taken down after this was discovered. And then they just put it back up. The website went back up, but they took down the posting for Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced. You know, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. It's the worst kept secret in gaming. Worst kept secret in gaming. It's absolutely wild. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Like, seriously, why not? I think at this point, the only reason they wouldn't be announcing it is because they're going to shadow drop it. Otherwise, like, just get it out there. Like, everybody knows it's happening, dude. Everybody knows it's happening. Don't pretend like it's a secret. We all know it's not. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Oh, speaking of what are we doing, we got to talk about Highguard, don't we? We gotta do an update on that. Got to do an update on that. I feel it's only right. Okay. Here it is. Okay. Somebody sent me this, and I figured we should respond to it. I haven't listened to it yet, so we're gonna see what we think. You ready? You ready? Last Christmas, I gave you my heart. Here we go. I haven't listened to this, so I reserve the right to not respond to it if I don't want to. Okay. This is a post from Fran Mirabella on X. Somebody sent it to me. They said, you should check this out. And so I literally don't know what I'm getting myself into. But content creator XIGN of 18 years. Ooh, baby, 18 years at IGN. An OG. VP of video, reviewer, reporter, fitness fanatic, Twitch partner, email DMs open. Golly, lots going on. Let's see what it is. It says unscripted vent, exhausted by ... predictable drama gamer reactions over play Highguard. Highguard, in case you somehow don't know, was the thing revealed at the Game Awards. It was the final One More Thing announcement. Uncharted. When we saw it, we were immediately bedeviled by how it was framed by Jeff. Not just that it was the last thing announced, but also just that it was framed and being pitched as a new breed. I think that's the text they used. They said a new breed of shooter. And he described it as like they wanted to elevate the shooter genre and move it forward, push the shooter genre forward or something like that. And everything we saw looked either generic or like literally Fantasy Concord. And I'm sorry that immediately has negative connotations. But if it's a connection people make in their heads, it just is a connection they make in their heads. You know, I'm not going to like lie and pretend like it doesn't give me Fantasy Concord vibes just because that hurts your feelings. Like, I'm not the one that spent millions of dollars on it. Okay. Like, so I don't feel an obligation to reframe it. If it looks like X, Y, or Z, I'm going to say it. Like, it could still be fun. I do think like Concord, there was fun to be found in it. It just was not more fun than you could get for free across the street with one of those plethora other games that were available. And it was just somewhat unremarkable. Like, yeah, it was well put together. Clearly the people that made this knew what they were doing. It's just the idea and the concept wasn't that compelling. And with this, it's a similar thing. Maybe there's a piece of it we just don't see. I think probably what they thought of as like the new breed of shooter was the horses and mounts. It seems to take some like MOBA inspirations. I think the destructible environments was also something that they were pointing at, but it looks like it's basically walls within rigid structures. So it's not like Red Faction. Like, you can destroy these walls. The framing still stays up. You can't destroy the whole building. That would be interesting if like the entire building could collapse, but that's not what this appears to be. So people saw the announcement and the reveal. They found it underwhelming. They found it kind of lackluster. And I think the key for me, at least, was that I think people were pissed specifically because it was the One More Thing announcement. It was the final announcement. And last year it was like Naughty Dog's new game. Okay. So people were expecting a Naughty Dog level announcement. And then instead it's a new studio making another hero shooter, and people were just like, really? And I think that that's why people got pissed. I really honestly truly believe if Highguard had been announced earlier in the show, no problem. I think nobody would be talking about it right now, which is why it was not revealed earlier in the show. But I don't think any of this discourse would have kicked off. And now certainly it's shifted. As you can see, Paul Tassi posted this. Highguard currently sits at the golden 1-to-10 Concord dislike ratio on YouTube. Hard to understate how tired people are of new live hero shooters. The craziest thing was to think you should close the show with this, however, which I think is true. There was no thinking. There was probably a checkbook involved, and it was all systems go. Probably. Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense, because the option is either Jeff got a fat stack to put it at the end of the show, and they paid the most for that slot, and so they got to be put at the end of the show, or Jeff honestly thought that that was the best game to finish the show. I cannot fathom him thinking that it was the best game to end the show. I don't think Jeff is that out of touch with the industry and the community. I think they just paid a fat stack. The problem is we don't know where they would be getting the money, because it's a small studio.
Donated
But
10
who
euros
knows?
through Super Chat. Doesn't Battlefield do a similar thing that Highguard is promoting minus the heroes? Heck, even COD has done it several times before.
Yeah, well, that's why like everybody's trying to figure out what's the hook, what's the unique thing here, and the whole trailer. We watched a 2.5-minute trailer. I still don't really know what the unique thing is. It looks like a hero shooter with like magic and guns, and then like you can break walls, and there's horses you ride on. Like, I just don't understand what the unique thing is, and that's not what you want. At the end of an announcement trailer, you want people to be like, I'm intrigued. You don't want them being, what? That's the opposite. But let's see what he says. So, predictable drama reactions over Play Highguard. Quote, you got to be pretty dumb to compare this to Concord and think the gameplay is anything like it. Can we please go back to playing games before placing 50-50 bets on their doom and trashing artist's vision? Let's see what he has to say. Let's hear it out.
My favorite part about this Highguard stuff is that everybody talking about this nonsense with Concord has like clearly never played Concord and does.
I did. We played it on stream for hours and hours. And then I even got it working with a cracked version, allegedly, just a matter of like a month ago, because you can still technically play it if you know what you're doing. So I've probably played a good bit more Concord than he has. And more recently. So, boom, roasted.
Doesn't even understand the gameplay that they're seeing.
Okay. It's not a great start when you immediately dismiss the opinions of the people you're talking to based on things you can't confirm. It's not the best tactic, but okay, continuing.
There's a bit of hyperbole there.
Oh, right, you're right. Sorry. Hold on. Where'd it go? You're right. I have played Concord myself. I did.
Boom!
There you go. Continuing.
People are just overreacting, but like nobody.
People may be overacting. Okay, I could see that.
Played Concord, right? I did, by the way.
I did.
But now they just want to listen to their favorite streamers and.
Shout out all you guys out there. Shout out if I'm your favorite. Much love. Concord was the #1 Concord streamer. I think I unironically made probably the most on Concord of anybody in gaming. Because they refunded everybody. So technically, if you made even a cent, you made more than Concord did. Which is kind of funny. Shout out money. Exactly. I was the biggest Concord streamer, dude. You have no idea. Biggest. Wasn't for good reasons, but I was.
About, oh man,
hold on,
this looks like now they just want to listen to their favorite streamers and whine about, oh man, this looks like trash, bro. It looks so like unoriginal. What are you talking about?
It does look pretty unoriginal. I mean, are you gonna say that this is like a novel concept? It's guns, but like he can do like crystal magic. There are horses.
Yes, I definitely think you can see a lot of these Apex inspirations and.
So you agree?
unoriginal. What are you talking about? Yes, I definitely
What do you mean? What are you talking about? I mean, you're right, but like, what do you mean? You just said, what are you talking about? Then you agree? What are we doing?
think you can see a lot of these Apex inspirations and all that stuff, but like this is clearly, you know, a PvP game with these PvE elements, right? You got all of these PvE elements going on, and it looks like what it's going to be, right? You can have these PvP clash points, you're trying to make it to the end, but you're doing stuff like, you know, blowing up buildings, setting off like reactors. You have powers where you're like smashing through stuff. You've got to get keys maybe to get through next sections. Like, it's not a bad idea. So like I don't.
So you started by saying, what are you talking about when you say that it's unoriginal? And then you agree that there's clear inspirations from other games, meaning it's not original, it's derivative. And to be clear, derivative games can be great. There's plenty of games that like take the initial inspiration and refine it into something that's commercially successful or culturally successful, or both. You know, the biggest battle royale games were not the first. You know, whether you look at something like Fortnite or Warzone, there were plenty of other games that came before that that technically experimented with the formula and laid the groundwork that was then refined. So being derivative is not like a death knell. It's not an inherent problem, you know, but I think it's fair to bring up, especially in the context of hero shooters, when it's hyper competitive and people are looking for a reason to be interested in this and they just don't see anything. And when you ask them, why are you not interested? Because it's derivative. It's too similar. Like, I don't know. I like, what's the unique hook? As we have said many times with Highguard when we've talked about it on stream, I'm just trying to find what the unique hook is. And it does just seem to be like, again, fantasy Concord. That's just kind of how it plays off. And I understand Concord brings with it negative connotations, but people have also said fantasy Overwatch or like fantasy Overwatch with horses. And people get upset about that too, because it's like it is derivative. Could still be successful, but I don't think you can dismiss all of the critiques of people who recognize the similarities, because it's frustrating. Like, come on.
I don't know what everybody's whining about without playing it, but I'm just so exhausted with, you know, that part of the gaming discussion at this point. It's just, it's ridiculous, man. Like, you can get into the details about, oh, this, you know, shouldn't have ended the Game Awards as the final thing. Sure, we all want Bloodborne 2 or like something like absolutely massive that, you know, we already know what it is. But, you know, this is an inspired team. They wanted to break off and do something original. It looks like that's what they're doing.
Original. It's a new IP, sure, but like, I will say there's sort of a pragmatism that I feel like sometimes is missing. Practicality, maybe, whatever you want to term you want to use. If the gaming audience reacts in X way, that's what you got to deal with. You can be frustrated by it. You can be like, I disagree. That's fine. But if that's how the audience reacts, that's what you have to deal with. It just is. You can be like Diablo Immortal. Why did all of those Blizzard fans lose their minds? Because they did have cell phones. Everybody has phones. It's like, okay, you can disagree with them being upset, but they're upset. And you got to deal with that however you want to deal with it. But like, you have to deal with that situation, with the reality that's presented itself. In the context of this, like, the audience found the game's presentation to be very disappointing, partially because they just thought it was uninspired and kind of unremarkable, but also because it was the final piece of the show. And I think the thing that's important to remember, it's like, they're not disconnected, okay? They're not disconnected. Putting any game at the end of the Game Awards, viewed by 150 million people around the world, putting this as the capstone announcement brings with it certain expectations. It just does. You don't have to like it, but it just does. And so if this is how you're finishing the show that's being viewed by 150 million people, that's like the biggest event in all of gaming in terms of raw viewership, people are going to raise their expectation, raise the bar. It's why I think if they had shown this off earlier in this show, none of this would be happening. The trailer probably would have been seen by a fraction of a percentage of the total people who have seen it. And the discourse would be largely non-existent. I know I wouldn't be talking about this, but people wanted to talk about it because there is this, like, I think it's also part of the reason why Concord became a symbol within the industry that people wanted to rally against, was not just based on what the game was, but based on what it represented. It represented this like corporate takeover of the gaming industry, this soulless corporate takeover where they were sacrificing at the altar of live service and potential monetary gain everything that makes gaming truly unique as an art form. And this game being the final announcement brings with it that stink of like the paycheck is what ultimately is dictating, or the rather checkbook is what's ultimately dictating how all of these things go. And it's the same thing where it's like, how on earth is it that this finished the show? It's either that Jeff thought it was honestly the best show or best game to finish the show with, which I think is patently insane, because I don't think Jeff's that out of touch. And or the other option is that Jeff just got the fattest stack for doing this. And so like this game offered the most money, and so they put it at the end of the show. What's interesting is that Jor was telling us he spoke to some of the developers from S Game who make Phantom Blade Zero. And he was telling us, because he met them at the after party after the Game Awards, and he told us on stream that the S Game guys gave Jeff the trailer for Phantom Blade Zero. They paid him a discounted rate, apparently. So it was not the full regular amount, but they did pay. And Jeff decided where it went in the show. They did not agree. They did not pay based on a certain level. They just gave him the trailer, paid an amount, and then Jeff chose where it went. That could mean that Highguard also just gave them a paid amount and then got the last slot. I personally don't believe that, because that last slot is way more valuable. I think everybody's watching the stream at that moment to see who wins Game of the Year. It has the most eyeballs at any point in the show. So I think they probably paid a premium to get it, but I did think that was interesting. But all of this to say, I think that the being at the end of the show raised expectations, it raised the bar, and then people watched the trailer and found it wanting. You can be upset about that, but I don't think gamers are like, I don't think they're unreasonable for doing that. I think that's a fair reaction to framing this in the same way that like this was announced at the same space and in the same spot that like the biggest studios in the world announced stuff, like Naughty Dog, like, you know, From Software. If they have a big game, they'll reveal it right before the Game of the Year award, because they're the biggest studio in the world, or one of the biggest studios in the world. So putting this at the end raises the bar, and they didn't meet it. And then, you know, they suffer the consequences as a result.
I know that there's fears around free to play and, you know, the model that Apex created almost of the.
I don't think it's a fear. I think it's more just an exhaustion. It's just, really, guys? Because the one thing gamers love more than a really good game that they can sink their teeth into, they love seeing a corporate money cash grab fail. They love that, you know? Because they don't want that to become the industry. We've seen for the last 5 years, Sony completely shift off of the tracks that they were on through the PS4 era and divert billions of dollars into live service ambitions, which almost across the board have been failures. Concord, of course, being the biggest one, but they've spent billions on Bungie and so far have seen basically no benefit from it. We'll see if Marathon turns a profit or can be successful, but that's been a big blunder on their end. All of the countless canceled games, The Last of Us Online, which was in development for years and was canceled, all the stuff from Sony Bend that was canceled, like all of these different studios. Blue Point was working on a God of War live service game that disappeared and was canceled. And that was all at the altar of live service, and it's gone basically nowhere. And they've wasted so many billions of dollars and years and years and years of development time and resources on it. And they've hired people and then fired those people, destroyed some people's careers and livelihoods, all in the attempt of making Overwatch with horses, you know? And so that's part of the reason people are rooting for it to fail, because they just don't want to see that work, you know? So sometimes it's not purely just about the game, but also about what the game represents. And I think that's why Concord became the whipping boy of the gaming industry, certainly. It wasn't just because of what Concord was mechanically as a video game, because I agree, it was somewhat competently put together. It was clear those guys had experience, but it's what it represented that gamers decided deserved to be punished. And that's why they celebrated its death, and they still talk about it regularly to this day. Concord deserved its failure. Well, I would agree. It was like a fine game in an age where you need to be exceptional to even show up on people's radars. And that's the problem, is fine or even okay is not enough in the hero shooter genre. It's just not. Like, you're competing against everything from Overwatch to Marvel Rivals to games, maybe less so Valorant or games like that, but you're competing against all of those behemoths. And so being just okay is nowhere near good enough. And this game, I think, presents itself at least as like, okay. And that's not enough.
This like quick launch, coming out of nowhere, and that is all pretty old at this point. So, if this was a Titanfall trailer.
Sorry, I gotta hear that back, because what?
The model that Apex created almost of this like quick launch, coming out of nowhere, and that is all pretty old at this point. So
I will say the Apex shadow drop that happened, which people forget, but it shadow dropped out of nowhere, which is insane to think that you would shadow drop a live service game like that. But it worked, clearly. Apex is still, chugging along. And they're not quite shadow dropping this. It's coming in January. But maybe there's similar inspirations there because it's coming from some of the same devs. I don't know.
If this was a Titanfall trailer, everybody would have been like so excited. But it's from a lot of these people who get really good games. They get really good shooters. So I don't know if it's going to be any good, but maybe we should play it and hear about people playing it first before we start calling it Concord. And again,
so let me just say that I can understand what Fran is saying. I get it. Play it before you critique it. But I think there's two things with that. For one, people's time is valuable, and they can judge things based on looking at it, at least, giving it the sniff test. And I think that this is also like my frustration, at least with this clip that we've seen. We'll finish it out in a second. But my frustration with it is that it's framed as though just broadly dismissing the feelings and impressions of the gamers that have seen it, which is not a good tactic. It represents this contemptuous vibe that tends to make things worse for you if you're a game developer. If you have like contempt for your audience, you will not find success. You will not find success. Instead, you should try to understand why people feel that way and are reacting that way. What is it about this trailer that elicited that response? Was it just its placement in the Game Awards? Is it also part of how it's been framed? Is it the trailer isn't very good? Is it the art direction? Is it some of the mechanics? Like, what is it? Try to understand what is actually going on instead of just being like, they're just being brats and like play it and they're just being outrageous. There's probably a legitimate reason they're feeling the way that they are. At least, he's not doing the thing that some people did with Concord last year, where people, if you remember, said, all these people saying Concord is like boring and lame. They've never made a video game before. And it's like, it's not a great tactic either. Like, I don't have to be a chef to know that my steak is overcooked. I don't need to be a mechanic to know that my car's tire is flat. I don't have to be an expert in the field in order to understand something about the field or to get something about something within the field. And in this case, if people are looking at it and finding it uninteresting and uninspired, and they say, it reminds me of Concord, you should pause and figure out why it's reminding people of Concord. Is it because it's a hero shooter that nobody really asked for or wanted, and it's being framed as the next big thing? That might be part of the reason. So maybe you shouldn't frame it as the next big thing. Maybe you shouldn't try to act like it's the second coming of Hideo Kojima. And instead, you should just approach it purely from the game's perspective. One thing somebody said, forgive me, I don't remember who said it. I think it was on Twitter. But somebody was mentioning how the biggest live service games that end up blowing up into the biggest ones, they don't frame themselves as the next evolution of live service gaming, the next evolution of storytelling or whatever. Arc Raiders just comes along and is like, hey, yeah, we're a solid game and we're listening to the community feedback and this is what we're doing. And then it blows up. And it explodes. Same with Helldivers. Like, they didn't expect the massive success, and that, I think, kind of helped it because people were not going in with crazy high expectations. They went in with lower expectations. But if you frame this as Jeff did, and as the studio has, as a new breed of shooters that are pushing the genre forward, there's going to be shifted expectations and demands that are going to be much harder to meet. And anyway, continuing, we'll let him finish up.
Like, you gotta be pretty dumb if you think that this game is anything like the gameplay in Concord.
Calling people dumb is not a great thing if you want those people to support your thing. I understand he's not working at the studio, so it would be way worse. Like, if this was coming from like the game director at the studio, then this would be like, okay, the game's actually dead now. This is coming from a guy on Twitter. But talking down to people and calling them dumb is not a great way to convince them that you're right. Okay? It's just not. It's just not. Understand them. Understand why they're calling it Concord. Because guess what? It passes that initial gut check of like, okay, hero-based shooter, it appears. It's a game nobody really wanted. It's being framed as like the next big thing, even though nothing about it seems particularly remarkable. And it, I saw somebody in chat said they have Concord haircuts, which is funny because all these live service games, they all share similar haircuts. I don't know what that is. I need somebody to like write an academic paper on live service haircuts because they all start to share the same presentation and vibe. It's very, very weird. You know, like the hair or like the dreads that are up and braided off to the side, but then the side of the other side is shaved. And, you know, they all have very particular vibes and hairstyles. It's very interesting to me. There's got to be a reason for it, but it's funny. It's like so trendy, Luke. Oh, really? I didn't know. I guess now I know. Thank you. It's just, and magenta or purple crystals, just like purple crystals in general. They love those. But you should understand why people are saying that and try to like humbly understand why they're saying it instead of calling those people dumb. That's my advice.
Like, anyone can see that if you just take a moment to look.
You're saying anybody can see that if they just take a minute to look. Bro, this trailer was seen by millions. The Game Awards is viewed by 150 million people. And the trailer is already, you know, getting mass downvoted because people are watching the trailer and finding it wanting, to say the very least. Not even wanting even, maybe beyond that. They're starting to shift and root for its failure, in part because those who defend live service corporate kind of slop and presentations, they defend it in this pedantic, contemptuous way where they're calling the people dumb that disagree with them, suggesting that they didn't even look at the trailer. And that's no way to convince anybody you're right. It is a fantastic way to build up a militant base of people who want your game to fail and will work to make it so.
And what's in front of you, so. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking to see what happens with it. I want to see more. I think they could have done a better job or really just made a better decision in like how they reveal it. But I'm looking forward to seeing it. So, you know, I guess we'll see what's up in the future, or if it's just going to, drop on January 26th and it's like, well, I guess we all played together.
I'm gonna be real. Like, okay, he did have an update, so let's see what else he added. Let's see. Let me add more. You are free to dunk on a game's visuals or genre. I'm not saying there's a wrong. I'm exhausted. It's the majority of the conversation. I mean, you called people dumb and suggested that they hadn't looked at it for, what was the exact phrasing?
Really good games. They get really good. This game is anything like the gameplay in Concord. Like, anyone can see that if you just take a moment to look at what's in front of you.
Take a moment to look at what's in front of you, suggesting that if you think that it looks like Concord, you didn't do that, which seems kind of dismissive, but okay. I don't like free-to-play games. Okay. Cool. I generally dislike grindy service games. Cool. I don't care how much it sells at this stage. Not sure what you mean at this stage, but okay. I like gaming discourse based on gameplay and substance. Mass gaming discussions love to focus on market success. You didn't play Prince of Persia Lost Crown because platformers are uninteresting and you hate cartoony animated looks. Your loss. I did play Prince of Persia Lost Crown. It's fantastic, and it does deserve a lot more attention because it's very, very good. As I've said for like a year and a half, whenever that came out. I think it was January of last year, I want to say. So yeah, Lost Crown is great. And you hate cartoony animated looks? No, I think it's a very particular subset of it. It's like how animation fans don't like the like bean mouth thing that they're doing in like all Pixar and Illumination movies nowadays. They're just kind of sick of it because everybody's doing it. And in this case, like, you know, the McCree reload and like revolver animations being really samey. And then like, you just know the dialogue that plays out in these games where it's like, time to fly as they jump off a rock. You know, like it's samey, you know, it's all of these games are kind of cut from the same cloth. Let's see. One-Eyed Jack Gaming says, I'm tired of you can't criticize a game unless you play it argument. Yes, you can. You literally can. It's just like watching a movie trailer and deciding that looks lame. I'm not watching it. Well, it's the difference between the belief that you're entitled to somebody's attention or money or what would be the way of saying this? You know how like some studios make it out like they are entitled to you trying the game, where it's like you can't critique Concord or Highguard unless you've played it. But then it's like, okay, like, but you're not entitled to my time and my effort. If I look at the trailer and I find it uninteresting, that's it. Like if I see the trailer for the new FNAF movie, which apparently sucks ass, and I decide I don't want to watch the movie, and I say, yeah, because it looks uninteresting, and my friend said it sucked ass. Like, that's a fair reason for me to not see it. That doesn't mean that I'm dumb. It doesn't mean that I was trying to twist something in this negative way. I just like, I didn't see it for those reasons. Maybe I'm pleasantly mistaken and I could be convinced otherwise. But you know how you don't convince me that you're right? By saying I'm dumb. You know, like saying I'm dumb that I didn't look at the trailer. You must have watched a different trailer. Like that is this dismissive, cocky prick attitude that people hate about like gaming journalists. It's that snooty, hoity-toity, holier than thou attitude that people cannot stand. They hate being talked down to in that way, you know? They hate it. Never said you couldn't. Let's see. Oh, hold on, I gotta finish it. It's just like watching a movie trailer and deciding that looks lame, not watching it. Gamers owe studios nothing. If your game looks good, people will try it. If it doesn't pique their interest, it won't, or they won't. I never said you couldn't. The irony. I said I was tired of it essentially being dramatic and the majority of the conversation. I don't care if you play the game. I literally don't. But I don't even know what to make of Highguard itself. But I can tell you I'm not painfully triggered by its looks. I generally don't like free-to-play and grindy service games as well. It's not drama. A game looks like shit that nobody will play. $20 to $30 horse skins, $20 weapon skins, 20 to 30 pound hero skins, obligatory battle pass incoming. Hate that stuff too. The general point is I'm curious to see the actual gameplay and details of it. Would make for a great review or hands-on even. Just saying what, God forbid, we play a game and talk about it reasonably. I can understand this sentiment. Again, I get it. I get what he's saying. I think, Fran, I understand and I even agree with what you're saying. I'd like more gaming discourse to be purely substantive. I would say, though, initial impressions and trailers are substantive. If somebody sees a trailer and finds it to be soulless, corporate, whatever, uninspired, whatever, you know, adjectives you want to put on it, that is a substantive statement and discussion to be had. If I look at this and I say, yeah, nothing about this seems remarkable, that is a substantive thing. What you should not do is then dismiss the people that come to those conclusions faster, perhaps, than you do, as being dumb or not giving the game a fair shot and therefore acting in bad faith. You know, that's not going to help Highguard do better. It's not going to help anybody do better. It's just going to make a lot of people pissed at you because you dismissed them. Yeah. And if you don't agree with me, you're stupid. Exactly. Like I'm trying to see what Fran's saying, and like I can understand the sentiment because I've heard people say it before. They said it about Concord, they said it about Suicide Squad, and it was like, you can't critique Suicide Squad until you've played it. I'm like, okay, I played it. Still think it sucks. Like, so now that's kind of dismissed. And but again, maybe it's just a simple bare bones disagreement that I think looking at a trailer and preview events and gameplay impressions or whatever else it may be, looking at that early stuff and not necessarily putting your hands on it yourself, that can still be a substantive disagreement or discussion. And I think that's okay. You don't have to spend money on the game or spend time on the game in order to come to a conclusion about it. It's the game developer's job and the marketing team's job to intrigue you and get you excited. And if they fail at that and the game ends up being great, that sucks, sure. But again, they're not obliged to your money. They're not entitled to it. So if they fail to convince you to buy it, that's on them. And that's part of the magic of gaming, right? Is that it's this mixing of art, tech stuff, and then also marketing and putting it in a package and selling it to people. And the unfortunate reality is that if one of those pillars crumbles and is weak, the whole thing crumbles. Like if you have one component of that trio, if the tech isn't up to par, the game will probably fail. If the game design sucks, the game's probably going to fail, no matter how hyped it is. If the marketing fails, no matter how good the game is, it still probably fails. It's all part of the same thing. And I think that in the context of the games industry, you can't just talk about one pillar and have a comprehensive discussion. And I think what he wants to do is talk about the one pillar of game design and ignore the other stuff. And you just can't do that. That's just not how the industry works. It just doesn't work that way. But interesting clip. Thank you to I don't think I saved the name of whoever sent it to me, but I'm sorry. If you send it to me, say in the comments of this clip and I'll pin it. But interesting little take. Again, main takeaway, don't call people stupid and dismiss them for disagreeing with you. It's not a great way to convince people that you're right. It's a great way to rally them against you. There you go. You know what I'm going to say.
Boom!
Boom! Deluxe edition of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was $5. Still feel like I overpaid. Fair. Fair. Yeah, dude, that... Where's it at on Steam? Is it still... Oh, it's back up to 70. It's back up to 70. Yeah, like this game was not very good at all. It still probably took in like anywhere from 20 to 50 million when all was said and done, based on the estimates we looked up back in the day. Like it did not do terribly. Can you believe it's almost been 2 years? I mean, it did terribly. It lost them $200 million. It did really bad for how much they spent on it. But compared to like Concord, it did way better. Yeah. Dude, can you believe it's almost been 2 years since this launched? Can you believe? Can you believe it's been almost 2 years? In early February, it'll be 2 years. Feels just like yesterday. I know, right? What happened from like spring of 2024 through like this fall? I feel like it just disappeared. That period of time just flew by. Still think about Mrs. Freeze. The really cringy Waller tidbits. Wait, where's the trash bag outfit? Do they just not have it? Looks like a PC port of a mobile game. Oh, but this is going to be goated, dude. Game of the year 2026. Here we go. This is going to be it. I'm so ready. So ready. Launches in May. Oh, can't come soon enough. I'm so excited. So freaking excited. It's going to be great. Real quick. New tiny segment. Not tiny because it's about Todd, though I have heard he is shorter than you would think, but I'm not calling it a tiny segment because of Todd being short. It's unrelated, and it just so happens to include Todd, and I don't expect it to go on very long because he doesn't say a whole lot. So we're going to try to talk about what he says, but still turn it into a clip, and that's why it's called a small segment, not because of Todd. Everybody on the same page? Good. So Todd did an interview. He's been doing a lot of interviews for the Fallout season 2 of the show. And high pitched voice because he's so short. So he did an interview talking about Fallout season 2 with Dexerto. And in it, he mentions which of the endings of Fallout New Vegas they're going to use to make canon. And this is interesting. Honest question in chat. Which ending, if you were God King of Fallout, which ending would you make canon for the show? Because Fallout New Vegas endings, I'm going to pull them up. Spoiler alert for endings in Fallout New Vegas. But there's a bunch. So the wiki actually has like a full breakdown. Oops, I know I'm using an ad blocker. I'm so bad. But you can see that there's all sorts of different variations. So, you know, in broad strokes, you have like the NCR, the House ending, Caesar's Legion ending, the Courier ending, and all of that. Then there's smaller nuances based on individual choices and things, you know, what happened to Raul, what happened to each of these characters. But I think the broad strokes endings that are mostly being discussed are like these up here, are the who did you ultimately side with ending, you know? Dr. House, 100%. Now I can't imagine that either. I'm Invisible said, now I can't stop imagining Todd as Lord Farquaad. Now I can't stop imagining that either. Let's see. Let's see. Are you kidding me? That is not what Todd Howard looks like. That's not what Lord Farquaad looks like. They made him so sexy. Okay. Thanks a lot, Grok. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. That's hot trash, dude. What even is that? What even is that? It's dumpster fire crap. Skibbity toilet riz. Okay, we'll move on, and I'll have Jacob work on that. I don't know. Do you have Midjourney, Jacob? Okay. Maybe is it this account? Okay. 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 This is going. How do you spell Lord Farquaad? Oh, I see. Maybe that's part of the reason I misspelled it. Todd Howard as Lord Farquaad. Okay. Give it time. Give it time. Okay. You guys said, let's see. You guys, okay. I see a lot of House, a lot of Mr. House endings is what you prefer. Let's see. Mr. House ending, Mr. House ending, Caesar's ending, Caesar ending. It seems like a lot of Mr. House ending. Is that really the most popular? Maybe we should do like a big Jesus, dude. This is what it spat out as Todd Howard as Lord Farquaad. I don't even know, man. These don't look anything like Todd at all. That's okay, kinda. That's kind of Todd-ish. But yeah, these are straight up. Oh, that's vaguely. That's got like a tinge of Todd. Just a tinge. That maybe in another life. That's kind of Toddy, but that nothing to do with Lord Farquaad. Anyway, there you go. There you go. We'll just have to imagine. Somebody will probably make one and post it to the Discord. Or if you can draw one, that's even better. Todd as Lord Farquaad. In Elder Scrolls, that would be great. Anyway. So with all these, Todd did respond to the question about the endings, and I was thinking about it. I was like, which ending would Todd and BGS in general choose to go with? The rumor has been for a while that they are not going to choose any, and they're going to basically say none of the endings are canon, which is weird because I think the only way to do that, given what Mr. House and Caesar's Legion and everybody, what's going on, I think the only way to do that would basically be to say that the courier dies in the pit after Benny leaves him at the very beginning of the game. I don't know how else you choose not to pick a like an ending, because the whole events of the game are leading towards a conclusion. That's kind of the point. And so one of those endings will play out. And if you do nothing, like one of them will play out. So I don't know how he's going to do it, but let's see what he said. Also, this is not my fault. This is not my fault. I'm a professional streamer, but even I can't fix this. Dexerto, close second to IGN in terms of audio mixing. All of his dialogue and recorded audio is in the right ear cup, and all of Todd's are on the left. They could have turned it mono when they exported it, but they didn't. So if you are just listening like with one earphone and you can't hear one side, that's why. Okay. They balanced the audio like dummies. Let's hear it.
Like nature versus nurture sense with Lucy and how she sort of makes her decisions going, on a road trip with the Ghoul, which is not easy. But will Season 2 sort of confirm one ending over another for New Vegas? Because obviously players have the choice to pick their ending.
Yeah, I would say this. We approached it like, hey, we need to honor all of those endings. And Graham and Geneva came up with some great ways to sort of do that, and this idea of this fog of war in terms of what happened, what didn't happen. And so
fog of war, he says. That makes me think they just won't talk about it. I don't know how else you would do it.
We answer in places, and each faction has a little bit of their own view, and sometimes we don't answer. Sometimes it's intentionally ambiguous because it's really...
Yeah, the audio's so bad. Dude, they added music into the interview. That means they brought this into a video editor, added subtitles and music, but didn't fix the audio for the interview, which is the whole freaking point of the clip. Like, it drives me crazy. Where I'm like, guys, this is your job. I'm a dude rambling about games in a basement. And even I'm like, this is poorly done. Like, come on.
Approach with great, love and respect of that game. And, hey, let's make sure we honor the journey that the player had, because they could have done a lot of things. And that one really does end with some, big faction decisions. But war never changes, right? The world is this takes place about 15 years after it. And so, yeah, things have changed.
Yeah, I mean, you set me up quite nicely there. War never changes. There's a certain person who says that line in the games, Ron Perlman. I interviewed him a few years ago, and he said that he hadn't been asked to reprise that sort of narrator role. Would that ever change in the future, do you think?
Oh, look, love Ron. We've worked with him a lot. And so I think when you think about him and you think about that voice, you think about, hey, where's the right, is there a place, and what's the right one?
Why so quiet? I don't know, dude. It's not my job. They don't know how to make videos with audio coming out of both ear cups. What are we doing? Yeah, it's too. I agree. We're all on the same page. So he specifically mentions fog of war. That to me screams they're gonna do just obfuscate and keep it hidden. Honestly, might be the right tactic. I honestly think that might be the right bet, because no matter what they do, I think some people will be like, oh, so what's that mean that they chose that as canon? People might throw a fit either way, but keeping it vague, at least this keeps it open. You can kind of bend it however you need to. we kind of bend it. I still think it would be really interesting if they went with like something really bold. If they're like, no, we went with the Mr. House ending. Full stop. That's what we're doing. Okay, that's interesting. I wonder if they're going to mention the courier, if they're going to say anything. They probably have like a tiny nod or something, but I don't think they're going to dwell on it. Like, my expectation is that they're going to just kind of blow past it. So you might walk in to the room, they see Mr. House. He has a couple lines of dialogue about the platinum chip or whatever, and that's kind of it. And then they just move on into the events of the show, and they just don't dwell on it. They just don't talk about it. That would be my guess. Like, I don't think it's going to be anything beyond that. That'd be my guess. It's like IGN and their video quality. Dude, again, I cannot even. IGN preview. Dude, their preview was so insane. Our clip of it has almost 500,000 views, pointing at it and making fun of it because of how terrible it is. It was insane. And just awful. And like
Arc Raiders is
again, they uploaded it at 1080p 50 frames a second. What do modern video editors even let you do that? Like, some of the stuff that he said in this was insane.
Spots can prove surprisingly dangerous, especially in groups. The little spider-like scurriers are downright upsetting for an arachnophobe like me, and the large crawlers do not mess around. Ark wander the map listening for the sounds of search or battle and swarm any humans they find. The Ark are especially dangerous in numbers, and there are plenty of subtle little traps set where clusters of different Ark with complementary abilities are placed near one another, sometimes hidden in indoor areas where one can literally trip into them.
Bro, the gameplay hurts to watch. Like, it really hurts. Wait for the Fortnite reference.
Whether calling out directions, overhearing sounds, or covering all windows in a room, your 3-person squad will find plenty of tension waiting in most buildings. Cleverly designed maps draw the characters in. The most lucrative resource hubs are clearly marked, and players flock to the richest areas looking for food, or hover between the treasures and the extraction areas, waiting to dispossess the luckiest foragers of their well-won games. The environments are passable, with the usual collection of rusty warehouses, abandoned apartment buildings, and overgrown vacant lots you'll find in a lot of post-apocalyptic shooters. Everything is serviceable, but it all kind of feels like they gave Fortnite a coat of DayZ grime and moved on.
What? Gave Fortnite a coat of DayZ grime? Have you ever what? Like, it's just so many of the things in this video. You're just like, time out. I gotta break this apart. Like, not just the overall quality of like the video recording, which is really bad, or he's talking about like the audio design, and literally this is not your computer or the stream. Listen to how out of sync his audio is.
Meatloaf without much plate presentation. But the meatloaf is tasty, if a little cold. Every drawer and cabinet is...
Like, guys. This, again, I can't stress this enough. IGN has almost 20 million subs. Are you seriously telling me? And that's just their YouTube channel, the English one. They have an international presence and websites and all that. They get the first dibs on every announcement and everything. And you're telling me that like they couldn't produce this in higher fidelity? Like, seriously? They couldn't send this guy a gaming PC to record off of? Like, really? I just, like, to a certain extent, I feel like they set him up for failure because he's playing a version of the game that is running on a potato. And I feel for him because they set him up for failure with this video. Like, yes, the Fortnite comparison is super cringe, and I don't know where he's getting that. But like, in terms of the visual presentation, the audio desync and all that, that's because they didn't set him up with proper equipment to make the video. That's a problem. Like, that's on them. They kind of sent him out to the wolves with this one. They don't contract him anymore. A lot of the guys that do contract work with IGN, they work on like a number of videos or reviews, and most of the reviewers are salaried, I think. But Yeah, I think that it's certainly the case that they will occasionally dump them if they become like upsetting or something. Like they become problematic. Too much to deal with, you know. Too much of a headache. Like, we're good. So, anyway. But IGN got better, doesn't it? Well, it's always shifting. So, this guy, they might not hire to do previews anymore, to write articles anymore. The problem with IGN is that it's infrastructure related. So for them, it's like they don't have processes to guarantee quality across their content. So one video will be done really well and is really high fidelity. They've done some like graphics breakdowns of games where they have somebody that really knows what they're talking about graphics in a given video game. But then they go in the next video, they're exporting it at like a 2500 kilobit per second bit rate at 1080p 50 frames. And the audio is out of sync because they recorded the video and audio at different sample rates. And like, it's just across the board is a mess, but it's because there's no consistency across the board, you know? Did you see the former IGN dude defending Highguard, calling it, oh, Jonas. Oh, Jonas. Just rewind the stream a little bit, my friend. Was it you who sent it? Somebody sent me that clip, and we looked at it earlier in the stream. Yeah, I get what he's trying to say, but it's just like, if you want people to be convinced that you're right, don't call them dumb and don't attribute motive, you know? It's a bad technique. Cool, just got here. Oh, you're good. Yeah, no, totally fine. Okay. Did I have anything else? Sorry, I just got flash bombed by Grok's attempt at Todd Howard as Lord Farquaad. If I spell it right, will it do it? Because it's not 2 D's, it's 2 A's. I just want to see this. Come on. I can already tell. Nope. What? Come on, Elon. What are we doing? How on earth are these Todd Howard as Lord Farquaad? What? Like, what? I don't understand. None of this makes sense. Well, I don't know what that is. It's not right, is what I know. Anyway. Oh, golly. Okay. I think we got through that. They did. Oh, did they really? Yeah, Fallout Prime. They booked out the Sphere. That's where all of those they're coming out the 16th at 6 p.m. It's a day early. This is where all of your paid mods money is going, by the way. We found it. Let's make a big digital snow globe. We found it. Figured it out. There you go. No, Luke, it's actually Amazon money. Okay, you got me there. Sneaky Pickle says check the Discord. Oh, God. I'm scared. Now. I also wanted to talk about this. Yeah, okay, we can do that. Jesus Christ. Okay, before I show you guys, this is from Trippy. This is cursed. I like all the medieval peasants being. That's pretty good. That's a good edit too. That's a good edit. Quick Photoshop job. It also, I like, you can still see his brown hair a little bit, so it makes the black hair look like a wig. Like he specifically put on the wig. That's pretty good. Do you want to see the other one that's a pretty funny edit? I'm sorry. I'm not mature enough for this. I'm not mature enough. This is pretty funny. It's pretty freaking funny. I'm sorry, Todd. I'm sorry. I also, people don't believe me, but I do have my own desktop background. It's just funny. Okay? It's just funny. Luke, he's actually pretty normal height. Yeah, he's probably taller than me for all I know, but it's still funny. It's still funny. I don't know why. It's just funny, okay? Sometimes it's not that much more serious than that. Where's the edit? Yeah, he's just a little guy working on Elder Scrolls out there in the big, big world. Big, wide world. So many games to make. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Oh, that's pretty fantastic. Let's see. Okay. Okay. We should talk about this. This is legitimately insane. Okay. Okay. This is like actually crazy. I had to read it and like read it a few times because I was like, is that really the case? But this is crazy. Okay. Okay. News, Emmett. We have a new crazy story. This one was like, it kind of broke my brain. I'm gonna be real when I was reading through it initially. But basically there's a game studio who was accused of using AI art and things in their work. They repeatedly denied it and said, no, we're not doing. And then it kind of went quiet for a bit. And it was just revealed a few days ago that they're actually completely shutting down because it was discovered that they lied about it almost certainly. So after an announced trailer for Postal Bullet Paradise developed by Goonswarm Games was posted last week, numerous players suggested that some elements of the trailer's artwork may have been created using generative AI. Following the accusations, Postal series publisher Running with Scissors initially denied the claims, with co-owner Mike Gereschakter maybe telling people on the publisher's Discord that they're ignorant a-holes, end quote, if they believe generative AI was used. That's definitely not going to age poorly. Not at all. Responding to Discord users who continued to claim it was AI, Jarrett Schechter replied, "It's literally not." Are we really doing that? What is this ad in the literal middle of the page? Really? Is this what we're doing? Hold on. There we go. It's literally not. Sorry, guys. Your wet dream is wrong. Dead effing wrong. Meanwhile, Running with Scissors community manager Zeron told one Discord member, quote, they were a Roblox for believing generative AI was used. Again, whenever somebody goes this hard into denials, it would be really crazy if they ended up needing to apologize because they were wrong. Developer Goonswarm, which again is an insane name for a studio, Goonswarm Games, responded to players by posting what it claimed were work in progress files proving the artwork was created manually, but some were also suspicious that these appeared to be questionable, with some accusing them of tracing over the existing art, basically using generative AI to create artwork, and then they went and traced over it to make it look like they had done it themselves. Okay, these are the accusations, okay? It's all up in the air. In a statement to PC Games N, Goonswarm said, I feel like this is an elaborate prank to trick me into saying Goonswarm multiple times, because again, it's a crazy name, but continuing. No generative AI was used for the reveal trailer or for the game. All assets were created by our human artists using standard tools. We've already shared layered PSDs, work in progress files, and other materials to confirm this. Any mistakes or rough spots in those files are being misinterpreted as proof of AI, but they simply reflect the normal human art creation process. Despite initially defending the developer and criticizing those making the accusations, however, Running with Scissors eventually posted on X a statement in which it appeared to backtrack on its defense of Goonswarm Games, saying its trust in the studio was broken and that the game had been canceled. Oops. After revealing Postal the Bullet Paradise, a title Running with Scissors was planning on publishing but not developing, we've been overwhelmed with the negative response from our concerned Postal community, the statement read. The strong feedback from them is that elements of the game are very likely AI generated and thus has caused extreme danger to our brand and our company reputation. We've always been and always will be transparent with our community. Our trust in the development team is broken. Therefore, we've killed the project. We have a lot of good things coming. Some you know, some you don't. Similarly referring to attacks on the publisher, they said, we'd, of course, like to apologize to anyone who felt insulted in the heat of the moment, and we thank you for raising concerns at the time. Yeah, calling your fans Roblox and like saying some really not nice things about those people. Ignorant a-holes and stuff. Not great to call members of your community that. Let's see. Following Running with Scissors statement, developer Goonswarm Games announced it was shutting down entirely while still maintaining its claim that it didn't use generative AI for Postal Bullet Paradise. Quote, our project and everything we built over the past 6 years was canceled in just a few days. They worked on it for 6 years, dude. 6 years. Our studio was mistakenly accused of using generative AI art in our games, and every attempt to clarify our work only escalated the situation. In the last few hours, we received a large number of threats, insults, and mockery, which pushed us to a very difficult decision. We're truly sorry for the artists who put their soul into this title and supported our studio, only to face false AI accusations. It's tough to pour so much energy into a game and end up caught in the middle of an AI war by accident. We've decided to shut down the studio, blah, blah, blah. And the following day, the studio posted another statement conceding that some generative AI was indeed used, but only for promotional art, which it claims was created by external artists. So they walked it back a bit. They walked it back pretty much immediately. So you can see these are the announcements that they canceled it and all of that. I want to see this trailer. I want to see this trailer that kicked all of this off. Okay, so this was a game that was going to be called Postal Bullet Paradise. Postal Bullet Paradise. And let's see. This is what they showed. Okay, this is the trailer. Let's see. Let's see.
Average rating has once again reached its optimal value. According to the latest sociological survey, citizens across the city report no reasons for regret. Happiness index increased by 2.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir. I'm calling about your complaint regarding the recent drop in your social rating. We reviewed your complaint and found that there was an algorithmic error. Your rating was lowered by mistake.
So I think where most of this is going to land, we'll see in the comments if they clarify. I think where most of this lands is again in the problem of crotchy. I think again in the realm of just lying and being unclear. Like if you did use generative AI and they came out and said, yes, we did for these parts, and we stand by it, we think it made it the work more efficient, whatever, then the publisher could still be pissed, especially if they told the publisher we're not using it, because that seems to be the agreement. The problem is that they lied about it, and even after they shut down the studio, they then follow up and they're like, okay, yes, we did use it. Okay, yes, we did use generative AI. We sure did. So you can see December 5th, they announced that they canceled it. This is the statement we just read. Then they posted this the following day. Dear gamers, we want to start with a sincere apology to everyone affected by the situation, the community, our partners, and especially the artists who support us. The last few days have been overwhelming as a small studio suddenly pushed into the spotlight. We reacted emotionally and defensively. The accusations came as a shock and we needed time to breathe, look at everything calmly, and understand what truly happened. After taking that time and conducting an internal review, we agree with your criticism. The promo art does appear to include or be influenced by AI-generated material. We collaborated with external artists for years and never saw any signs of this. The layered PSDs always looked legitimate within our internal pipeline, which is why our initial reaction was to protect our team and defend our innocence. We understand now that your concerns were valid and we take responsibility for not catching this earlier. We also want to stress that this issue relates only to the promo art and does not concern the real artists who worked on gameplay, visuals, assets, and other content. Many of them have nothing to do with this situation, yet they have been receiving threats, harassment, and hatred. This is deeply unfair, and we hope this message helps protect them. Their work is real, and it deserves respect. We previously announced the closure of the studio, but even in this state, we feel responsible for the outcome. As far as our remaining resources allow, we will replace all disputed promo art across our projects with pieces created entirely by human artists. It will take time, but we will do it. We again apologize to everyone who was harmed and affected by the situation. We never intended to mislead anyone, and our earlier statements reflected that we honestly believe that at the moment. I mean, I think they handled it very unprofessionally, to say the least. Some of those statements are wild. And, you know, maybe that overreaction, they say it's because they honestly thought that everything was human generated, and that's why they were so forceful in their denial. But it's also like the the old saying, you know, "Milady doth protest too much, methinks." Like, when you react that heavily and are so defensive, it kind of raises alarm bells even more and causes people to sit up and go, really? What's going on here? And I think what's interesting is that apparently the promotional materials are what here. So Dr. Nick says, so here's the direct link to the trailer for this game, and barring the fact that they 100% using AI generated assets for it, the game just straight up doesn't look fun at all. I mean, it's not a crime, but I see. I went to the YouTube page for Goonswarm Games, and just looking at some of the thumbnails for their games tells the story. I should add that just as I was taking the screenshot, they were seemingly in the process of making all of their videos private. As soon as I refreshed the page after taking the snip, everything was gone. So yeah, I mean, that's got the look to it. That's certainly AI generated. I could see it. I think, like, again, the problem is that they lied about it. And then when they were caught, they started frantically flailing, calling everybody names. And then when it was truly over and the publisher canceled everything, then they come forward and confess about it, which is ultimately the real problem. I think for this, it's gotta be so freaking stressful for like legitimate studios though, because say you hire, it's one of the reasons people are asking me, they're like, Luke, why haven't you gone and hired like more artists to do like heavy edits on thumbnails and stuff? Part of it is I'm kind of worried that I'll hire somebody and they're just going to put everything into like Midjourney, make everything that way, but sell it to me as custom. And then, you know, it's like, you just don't know what you're getting unless they provide you the Photoshop files for you to verify and stuff. It's got to be freaking stressful as hell, you know? Like it's just insane. It's insane. But anyway, that just happened. The studio's gone. The studio's shutting down, and they are walking it back, saying that it was used. And you know, they're very sorry about it, but it's just, it's what happens when you compulsively lie about stuff, you know? You get caught in the crossfire, and people find out and then fry you over it. So there you go. Oh no, anyways, yeah. But this is the thing that I think people like Satya Nadella and some of these big corporate executives don't appreciate, which is that they're like, just use AI and pump games out faster and cheaper. But the marketplace has sort of gotten to this point where a lot of people greatly prefer non-AI generated stuff in their games and media in general, whether it's, you know, the Coca-Cola commercials that have been going viral for all the wrong reasons or whatever else. And so that almost puts it puts a penalty on AI use in those workflows. And so you can, but I mean, imagine if they announce like, here's the new whatever Elder Scrolls trailer made in collaboration with Copilot. Like, can you imagine the meltdown? Like, dude, it would be crazy. But Satya Nadella, like CEO of Microsoft, he's probably like, well, we really believe that AI will make these games more efficient and we will make more money. And it's like, bro, it doesn't matter if people hate it. Like, if people hate it and don't want to buy it, it doesn't matter how cool it is or whatever, how much money you invested into it. If they hate it, they just won't buy it, you know? And that's the piece of the puzzle that I think has not been truly appreciated. The average consumer, I think, views AI stuff as slop. And maybe one day it gets to the point where you can't tell. Right now, you can tell, especially when you start to really like break it apart. And for some stuff, maybe it doesn't matter that much. Like if you had whatever AI help you compose an email, that's not the end of the world. If you're going to try to get me to spend $15 on a movie ticket to go see an AI generated movie, yeah, I'm probably not going to do that. I'm probably not going to do that. You know, it's just, and I think that that conflation is certainly going to cause more problems. Yeah, leave my $1 trillion company alone. Microsoft's having a rough day though. Google just overtook them, which is kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. Okay. Yeah, I know you guys are really torn up about it. I know you're really, really devastated. really, really, really worried about it. But you'll be okay. I'll protect you. I'll protect you. It's okay. It's okay. Okay, let me check this. Let's see. Bookmarks. Oh, we looked at that one. What is this? Oh, yeah, I did. So I mentioned that Where Winds Meet launched on mobile. I did launch it and try it to see what it looked like graphically on a mobile device. And this is what it looks like. This is after Discord compression. So, you know, bear with me. But this is what it looks like. You can tell that I'm playing on mobile because I'm like, oh, shoot, how do I control this? I like loaded in and went straight to this. But if we go forward, I die. The environment's honestly like not that bad. Not that bad. It was actually pleasantly surprising how like not ass it ran. But I gotta see if you can pair a controller to it. Then it might work better. I do think a lot of other studios will take a nod from that and we'll start using that as like the inspiration. Oh no, wait, did we get another one? Oh, look at this. Look at this. So this, I don't know if we turn this into a segment. It's just funny. So there's a channel, El Alemon, and they do these like really funny like news report clips from famous video games and stuff. And so like this, they took a clip from the bar scene in Valentine and turned it into a news story to report on. And they're flipping brilliant. Like everybody needs to get over and subscribe because they do them for New Vegas. They do them for all sorts of games. It's really good. Look at this.
And as a routine afternoon quickly escalated into chaos earlier today at a local saloon in Valentine, in an incident that authorities are now investigating as one of the most disruptive public disturbances the town has seen in recent months. According to witnesses and security camera footage obtained by Blackwater Times, a violent bar fight broke out involving multiple men, resulting in several injuries and extensive damage to the establishment. Furniture was destroyed, bottles shattered, and the interior of the saloon was left in such disarray that the owner has confirmed the business will remain closed indefinitely for repairs. One of the individuals involved was identified as Fenton, a man known to some residents for his unusual behavior. The situation reportedly spiraled further when a large local man known as Tommy intervened. Eyewitnesses say Tommy aggressively attacked Fenton, grabbing him and throwing him out of the saloon and into the street, where the altercation continued in full view of onlookers as much of the town gathered to watch. Security footage confirms that the confrontation outside was as intense as the one inside, with both men exchanging blows before the situation eventually de-escalated. Blackwater Times also spoke with Anastasia, a local woman who was present at the saloon shortly before the fight began. According to her statement, she had briefly spoken with Fenton earlier that evening and described the interaction as unpleasant. She claimed Fenton was extremely rude and showed no ability or manners when speaking to women,
Classic.
adding that his behavior made her uncomfortable even before the violence erupted. In a separate interview, Melvin, identified as Fenton's brother, addressed the incident publicly. He stated that Fenton is mentally challenged and apologized to the residents of Valentine on behalf of his family, expressing regret for the trouble caused and emphasizing that no harm was ever intended. The owner of the saloon described the damage as severe, stating that repairs will take time due to the extent of the destruction. Estimates suggest that damages amount to dozens of dollars, a significant loss for a small town business. The sheriff of Valentine has confirmed that the incident is under active investigation. No arrests have been announced at this time, but officials say all individuals involved are being questioned and further action may follow. Blackwater Times will continue to monitor the situation and provide updates as more information becomes available.
Dude, that's so good. So good. Seriously, get over sub to El Alamon. And like seriously, they, like I mentioned, they do these for Fallout New Vegas. They do these for all sorts. Yeah, Inside Caesar's Legion, full documentary.
Cottonwood Cove.
It's like
even the virtues of slaves are beyond the desolate on this side of the river.
We boarded the ferry that Cursor Lucullus was piloting.
Dude, they're so good. They are so good. So get over there, subscribe, watch the videos. They're some of the most clever and creative things I've seen in a minute. It's really good. Like in-game or in-universe documentaries and like news reports. It's something I never would have thought would be so freaking funny, but it's really good. It's really good. Yeah. Highly recommend it. Yeah. Dozens of dollars of damage. Yeah. Real quick, let me see. Come on, load. Damn you, load. Sorry, YouTube is struggling. Let's see. Curryton, thank you also for the sub over on Twitch. Thank you, my friend. And let's see. Silverstein, thank you for the 25 months. Ooh, baby. Been too busy working to keep up with the streams or play games for that matter, except KCD2. Any recommendations to play during Christmas time? Of course, KCD2. Beyond that, I mean, there's been a number of really good ones. If you want like an old school RPG that's kind of like old school Skyrim, then Tainted Grail is really solid. If you want something more JRPG adjacent, Octopath Traveler 0 just launched. If you want something, you know, with more like replay value, Hades 2 is phenomenal. Expedition 33 goes without saying, but yeah, there's a bunch of really good ones that just happened. What do you think about all the Expedition 33 hate? I think a lot of it is performative. I think a lot of it is from people that like are pissed that Arc Raiders didn't win. So like, I think a lot of it is not like, I think a lot of it's silly. Where it's like people are arguing back and forth and it's like, bro, like I'm not going to get up there and argue that like, I don't know, Fallout 76 should win Best Multiplayer Game of the Year award. I'm not going to get up and do that against people arguing like Battlefield 6 or Arc Raiders deserves it. It's like from the outset, just a stupid conversation. Like, what are we doing? I think people are kind of trolling where like they maybe really wanted to see Arc Raiders or something. And so they go in and they start trolling the Expedition 33 guys. I'm like, honestly, I just don't think it's very good. Honestly, the combat sucks. Like, I think that's a lot of it is it's people low-key trolling and getting baited. So I wouldn't put much weight into it, you know? I wouldn't put much weight into it. It happens literally every year. You remember back like Baldur's Gate 3 launch or one game of the year and people were saying, no, it's trash. It's turn-based. It's garbage. Like right after the Game Awards were that one, people were doing the same thing. So once you get off Twitter and like Reddit and you start seeing like just normal people talking about the games, it doesn't really affect the same way. Yeah, Hannah, we kind of went late because I took my kiddos to preschool this morning, and so I gave Nikki the morning off, and I took the kids in to do that. So we started the stream a little bit before I would normally hop off, and so it's been kind of all shifted forward, but it's been a good time. I've enjoyed it. Question, Luke, do you know why a lot of AAA game companies push for 3-player co-op and not 4-player? Asks Superstar DC with a $5 super chat. That's a good question. Why do more companies go for 3-player as opposed to 4-player? I don't, maybe it's like a system issue. Maybe it's easier for them to juggle 3-player, multiplayer network code as opposed to 4-player. It could be that like 3-player is a little bit more straightforward because like you can have 3-player, and duos can kind of hold their own against 3-player teams better. But if you have 4-player matches, you have to worry about potentially balancing for 2 players against 4 players and 3 players against 4 players, and then solo queuers and all that crap. And I think it's also just like the sheer volume of players you need to do matches of 4 players per team is a lot. Like you need a lot of concurrent players to fill out those lobbies. And so it's probably just easier to do trios, it's probably something boring like that. I don't know if maybe they have some data that says very clearly, like actually the number of players or number of friend groups that are in 3s as opposed to 4s is significantly higher. So we're going to target that. Maybe they have data like that, but I don't know. I'd guess it's probably something boring, like the math around matchmaking. It's probably something boring like that. The Nugget, thank you for the 5. Shadow dropping DOS2 for Divinity Original Sin 2. For PS5, Switch 2, and Xbox Series X was a smart move. Larian will definitely get more exposure. Well, and people should play him, because seriously. Speaking of a good Christmas game that you should check out, Silverstein, that's a good one. If you've not played Divinity, go play Divinity. It's also got great multiplayer and co-op and PvE or PvP stuff, or not PvP. It's got co-op stuff. Go check that out. It's really good. Yeah. I read that one. Jeff, hyping up the trailer did big damage to it. If they played it during the pre-show, people still wouldn't like it, but they wouldn't hate it as much. About Ismail talking about the high guard thing, I absolutely agree, and I think that was a prime example of how you frame a trailer can significantly alter how it's perceived and interpreted, almost exclusively because of how you framed it. I mean, that really can be what determines it. Let's see. Clearly, it's a fantasy world with that magic sword to break. I can't believe I didn't see this one. It normally would have read this out. Thank you, Walter, for your patience. I'm sorry I'm just now getting to it. Hopefully you're still here. Clearly, it's a fantasy world with that magical sword to break the fortress shield. Why aren't the characters' armor have like magical glow to them? It looks so boring. Even the magical horse looks normal. Again, I think it's just when you framed it the way that they framed it. All of the discourse now is framed in this like hypercritical way that didn't need to happen. Like they just didn't need to put all these eyes on it. And I think it probably would have been better off. Like just pay for some big streamers like Shroud to play it for a week. Spend that money there instead of on the Game Awards. And it probably would have stood a better chance, honestly. I really think so. I also thought this was funny. Moist Critical uploaded a 10-minute video about the Game Awards and just casually didn't mention that he won Creator of the Year. Is this real? Like, that's freaking hilarious. That's funny. Oh, no way. No way. They did my boy Jake dirty. No way. Is this real? They literally stole Jake's tweet word for word. That's crazy. Okay, I'm going to rate that community note positively. That's crazy. I'm part of the problem. I clicked on the Dexerto one. I clicked on the Dexerto link. I'm part of the problem. Oh, God. Oh, God. Well, shout out Jake. Jake is freaking hilarious. We got to hang out recently. He is so funny. Dude, he's the guy I told you about. I met him at the marathon event. And, like, he's the only man that could show up in Seattle, Washington, and just casually walk up and be wearing, like, homemade denim jean shorts when it's, like, 40 degrees outside. I was like, what a guy. What a bro. What a bro. Let's see. Did I read that one? Marvel Rival fans would love this. Not us though. I mean, maybe they like the third person stuff. Gamer so lame, knows nothing about game and complain. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the tactic that he took in that video. Can't wait to see the Concord Discord revive High Guard after it shuts down. All 5 of them must have lost their minds at the Game Awards. Finally. Sorry guys, I don't know why it didn't read off these super chats. Normally it would. I don't know what happened. That's weird. Maybe it crashed. I don't know. That's weird. Kylan, thank you for being here, my friend, over on Twitch. Thank you. Big fan from Ozmate. Love your work. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Glad you're here. I like, this is nice. We should do this more, shaking up the stream time so we get some fresh faces in here. I like it. I like that. The Dexerto one didn't have emojis. Oh, so that makes it new. Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty derivative. Well, yeah, it's like Concord also on paper didn't look insanely bad or anything. Like Gollum looks bad. That game looked bad and was bad. Concord didn't look bad. It was well put together. It ran well. It was polished. It was optimized. All that. Like you can say all of that about it. But the problem ultimately was just that it was derivative and boring. And like that in and of itself is a problem when you're competing against other stuff, you know? It's a problem. Let's see. I read that one. Okay, we're caught up. What you gaming right now, Luke? I am going between Octopath Traveler 0. Still, of course, occasionally playing Arc Raiders. Me and Nikki have been playing Civilization when we get a chance. That's really fun. It's kind of our current obsession. Been playing Core Keeper as well. Playing a lot of that, having fun with that. That's a fun one to shake it up with. What else? Started going back through Black Flag again to prepare for the remake and just to kind of get reminded of what it was like. And what else? There's something else. Oh, I did start a new run of Baldur's Gate 3 on my Legion Go. It's pretty good. Pretty fire. Kyler, where did it I don't know why I called you Kyler. Let's see. Oh yeah, it didn't do TTS. Now you really owe me a tenner. Yeah, literally. I don't know why it didn't read those out. But come to think of it, it's been like an hour and a half since it read anything else, so who knows. Play the Pragmata demo. I believe it's the same demo that we played at Summer Games Fest. It's the same chunk, I believe. I could be wrong about that. So I have played it. I have played Pragmata. Yeah. For me, it's like, I think it's going to get really repetitive really quickly, personally. Really quickly. You think news next year for the remake? Yeah, I think they're going to go silent for the rest of the year. And if they're going to shadow drop it, that would be best. But if they don't shadow drop it, I think that they will reveal it at the Xbox Partner Showcase. I think that's what they do in like early mid-January, I think is what they do. So anyway, well, fam, I'm going to call it there and go check on the fam because I just realized I'm so not used to streaming this late and then it being like dinner time. So I'm going to call it there and go check in on the family. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. It's been wonderful. 4 hours flew by. You guys are fantastic. Much love. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day. We'll be back on Wednesday, rocking and rolling. So buckle up for that. And I'll see you very, very soon. Okay. Much love. See you in the Discord. If you're a member or Twitch sub, get over there. It's a good time. Much love. See you soon. Bye-bye.